And let's be heard. The final gun has sounded. Now it's your turn to hear and be heard. The Huskers are headed to the locker room, and we're ready to give you all the post-game info and opinion. It's Big Red Overreaction, the first live post-game show featuring the most important voice of all, you, the Husker fan. Big Red Overreaction is sponsored by Coors Light, keeping Nebraska chill, and by Equitable Bank. Also by Burton. When your plumbing's hurting, just call Burton. Get on the line now at 402-951-1620 and sound off on Big Red Overreaction. Live on 1620 The Zone and 1019 The K.
More of the workload. Oh, an onside kick. Northwestern is on it. At the 45, Scott Frost going for the mortal blow in this game, and now Northwestern has a short field.
I don't know about that.
Well, there's a lot of people that don't know about that. Good afternoon, everybody. This is Big Red Overreaction. This is the first Big Red Reaction over 2022. I'm Gary Sharp. There's Josh Peterson. Chance Oliver is here as well. 31-28, Nebraska loses to Northwestern to begin the year. They blow two 11-point leads, the questionable onside kick, a quarterback that was never the same after one of the most exciting plays, and it might be the most exciting play of the season. Your most consistent player was the punter. You were gassed, not late, but early. Ready?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be a load of fun.
Yeah, you know, we did a few of these shows last year, and it seemed like it always kind of happened this way, where we got on after a strange late situation loss. Now, this one wasn't so much that. This one was kind of a slow bleed after the onside kick, but, you know, not to quote the head coach, but same movie from last year, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, it felt that way in a lot of ways. Without maybe the boneheaded, like, you know, the special teams. I know they kicked it onside, but didn't have a weird safety. You know, you had turnovers, but they weren't in, like, the strange situations of last year. It was different. It was the same and yet different, if that makes any sense.
So Nebraska goes touchdown, forced fumble, touchdown, up 28-17. And then might be the first question that is asked in Scott Frost, and we'll hear from him in Dublin, imagine within the hour. What happened in the onside kick? Was it your kicker that saw something because Northwestern only had three guys up, that it was his call? What went into the onside kick that completely changed that football game? From up 28-17, where you feel real good and you feel like breaks are going your way, Josh, that have not gone your way, against a team that doesn't hurt themselves, and you're up 28-17, even though you might be being outplayed, and you fall 31-28, and that is a decision when you're up 11 that is going to, I mean, there's been a lot in the previous 4 years, but is going to hang over the season. And this is the kind of game where you're beat up on the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, they were gassed.
Where I don't know how you come back from. I said it earlier in the week. I've said it for a while, the importance of this game. I know you have, other people have, and we've argued about it. I just, the way this game unfolded, I don't know how you recoup and move forward.
Yeah, you put everything into it, right? They make all those changes. All the changes on the coaching staff, essentially the entire offensive side of the ball. You have a special teams coordinator, and I mean, that's not very good today. We know all the new starters. Some of them showed up. You mentioned Casey. Casey Thompson made plays early, and, you know, there was a quote late from Brock Heward that I thought was, you know, I thought it explained everything well. He said, this feels frantic. This feels sped up. This feels like a tight offense right now. And that side of the ball really changed. A whole lot of the other, you know, new players. Trey Palmer, I thought, performed admirably. You remember when O'Shawn Mathis's name was mentioned last on the broadcast? Didn't really talk about him a whole lot today. Anthony Grant, he played well. He scored a couple of touchdowns, but it took him a while to get going, the revamped offensive line. It's just like they did all of these things so this wouldn't happen, and then it happened again. And so I'm with you. They have a cross-country flight now in, 3-4 hours. And then they got to play again in 7 days or 6 days by the time they land. How do you rebound from this? How do you rebound from the start of the season that we were putting everything into it at the start?
And some things that you thought might be, at least could get you through game one, that you might be consistent. I mean, just the abysmal tackling, breakdowns in pass coverage, not being able to get to Ryan Helinski. Credit to Helinski and Hull. They were fabulous. And Porter was really good as well. But Nebraska, the inability to even like pat Helinski on the back and say hello at any point during this game is amazing.
Yeah, it it happened on the other side where Northwestern kept getting closer and closer and closer and closer to taking Thompson down. And you mentioned the Northwestern offense, arbitrary analytics, a lot of stats work for Nebraska on Twitter said only 2019 Ohio State had more yards of offense against a Scott Frost Nebraska team. That group, as he pointed out, Justin Fields, J.K. Dobbins, Master Teague, etc. I thought that there was going to be some defensive regression this year. I didn't see this happening. And I mean, I know it's a long year and I don't want to just be like, well, God, November looks a lot tougher, but it does. And I don't know how they're going to be able to stop the run if they struggled like that against this Northwestern offense.
Well, there were some guys that you expected to play well that didn't play consistently well. And that's Nebraska needs those guys to play well almost every single snap. But when you have a team that you're playing that they ran over 80 plays against you.
Yeah.
And they had no respect that you would be able to stop them late when they just lined it up and tried to run it down your throat until finally you were able to force a punt at the end. But I mean, guys were there's 50% good if you could go some position groups, 50% good on wide receivers, but then there were key drops.
Yeah. Trey had some early.
But just this game swung. It was 28-17. The game had felt so different, especially going into the locker room at halftime where you felt Northwestern goes up and you're like, there we go. This one is over. And then Nebraska comes out and defensively gets the ball back right away. They get something going. They have a magical play. They're up 28-17. I know the course of a 60-minute football game, it doesn't come down to one play. It came down to a decision that changed the tenure of the whole football game. And Vokalek went out of the game, never came back. That was a huge issue.
Yeah.
There's so many things that when you go back and watch this game or you've already made your decision, today was Nebraska football.
Yeah, very rarely
football the last 5 years.
Yeah, I think very rarely, Gary, do you have a specific moment in time that is so easy to look back, even with hindsight, and say, yeah, that was the moment. We were doing it after it happened. Because Northwestern, so they got the ball, their own 44, right down the field. Easy. And that's the thing, man. They were picking up yards all day long. And you talk about the fatigue, the gassed nature. And I had someone reach out to me late in the game and said, yeah, I was told that their conditioning was a little suspect, but I didn't see this coming. And again, it's just what happened?
And the conditioning stuff wasn't all of a sudden Northwestern in the second half is running an abundance of plays. That was pretty evident early.
Yes.
I mean, by the second quarter, you could tell that the defense was gassed.
Yeah. Taking bad angles. I mean, there was a play late. I'll have to rewatch it and see who it was. But just the angle that was taken in Northwestern, it looked like an old video game where you just kind of turn and then ran right around him.
Yeah. All right. So this is how it'll work. More of you, less of us, if you're okay with that.
Yeah. Works for me.
951-1620. You can always email us, Gary or Josh at 1620thezone.com. On Twitter at Gary Sharp 1620 at Josh Tweederson. We're only going to be here for about 20 minutes. So
off at 3:45. It's a hard out today, folks. Hard out.
We've got other programming going on at 1620. All right. Look at that. The phone lines were already jammed before Nebraska got the ball back.
They were indeed.
Welcome to Big Red Overreaction. Yeah. Where my record now is I am reminded by someone of doing this show for nearly a decade. I am now 2-26. Yeah.
2-26.
Yep. All right. Hello, Tim. You get the honor of starting off Big Red Overreaction after a 31-28 loss to Northwestern.
Well, thanks, guys. My condolences on having to sit through the rest of this. So, I guess I'll not mince words. I'm a former college football player at a lower level than D1, and I'm a trial attorney, and I just don't understand how you can keep doing the same thing over and over again. Like if I had lost 4 trials in a row, having the same deficiencies, it would really, really be hard for me to tell a client, yeah, we can roll with this, we can do this. And it's just, I don't know, it's just there. I guess the last thing I'll say is we're season ticket holders. We've been season ticket holders for probably 20 years. I don't know who's going to go to the game next week because nobody seems interested in going, and I have a family of 7. So good luck with the rest of the show. Take care.
Thanks, Tim.
A subdued call to begin Big Red Overreaction.
What? I mean, can you be angry? I mean, you're like, okay, that's it.
Hey, that's a good question. Can you be angry? I'm going to ponder that. It's a good question. I think what I would be angry at is seemingly a lost season. Well, if you agree with that idea that it's going to be a lost season, I'd be angry at the decision not being made.
So I think there are certain areas of today's game by position groups and players that you definitely could be angry at.
Yeah.
I mean, this game on a the onside kick. Now the offense, and we also, you get Casey Thompson will speak after the game, but something happened after that play he made because he was never really the same.
He wasn't.
Granted, Vokalek was not on the field, and Vokalek was great today when he wasn't catching the football. When he was blocking, he had a great block to spur Grant on his touchdown. But something happened to Casey Thompson after the wild scramble play because he was never the same.
Yeah.
That offense almost was never the same as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't have the exact numbers in front of me. I can add them up because I got like a play chart. But after that, it was a lot of incompletions and not very many completions at the very end of the game.
All right, here is Bob. Hello, Bob. Welcome to Big Red Overreaction.
Hello, boys.
Hi, Bob.
Well, football season has started and ended all on the same day. I don't see how anybody can put up with this crap any longer. It is really, really, really bad. I see no difference. I see no difference between Martinez and what you had in the second half with this kid from Texas. He looked just as bad as Martinez did. Made some bad decisions, and he had the deer in the headlight looks. I don't know what they're doing to these quarterbacks down there, but they're destroying them. And I will make a prediction. Martinez will have a big season with Kansas State. Mark my words, because he got away from that knucklehead. Thanks, boys.
Bob. All right, that only took 2 calls into the season.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Hello, Sam. Welcome to Big Red Overreaction.
Oh, shit.
All right.
Oh, Sam. Come on. We got to ban you already.
All right, so we're 3 calls.
Got to ban you already.
Adrian Martinez. We have a curse
and
word.
we have a curse word. It's 3:26 in the PM, Gary. It's not even a midnight game. This isn't even a primetime game yet.
For God's sake. Okay, John.
Lord.
All right, John, you're next up.
Oh, gee, what's up, man?
Hey.
John, how you doing?
I'm doing well, bro.
Is this Don?
This is Don. Juan.
Don, what's going on, man?
Chance can't hear.
I'm sorry, Don Juan.
Don, what's up, man?
All right, let's start this over, Don, because I want you to bring the goods. Don.
Hey, no, man, well, we don't get to start the season over, man.
Oh, no. I'm starting your call over.
Zero tolerance. What happened to the run game, bro?
The inability to get any push whatsoever is amazing. I mean, even short yardage, just nothing.
And it's what's funny too, Don, is so the box score. I mean, the box score doesn't look good. 31 carries, 111 yards, but Anthony Grant's numbers look good now because of the 46-yarder. He had 19 carries for 101 yards, but that I don't think that really tells the story, does it?
They're getting dominated up front, and also Don, and we saw it for one play late in the game when Logan Smothers came in. The not having an element of the quarterback run game also played into Northwestern's hands.
Yeah,
I mean, so but the short yardage, not even getting off the ball, is really, really concerning to me. And remember,
I was told they would be firing off the ball.
And remember, going into this, Don Juan, what was supposed if the offensive line could only pick one that they would be better at least functional, it would be running the ball. And it didn't happen today.
No, and that's where I think, where you have to have respect for the game. And like you're saying, you have to, those fundamentals, and but 550 yards given up by the black shirts, but I think though that they did good on the script, the first 15 plays that they ran. But then, when you get to them turnovers and start getting tired in the tradition of losing, man. But I can't believe, bro, you 2-26.
Yeah.
Hey, man, I appreciate you, man. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Don.
Especially the way the game began, when you're up 14-3 in the opening series on offense, when everybody's getting a touch and you like the tempo and everything is moving, and then you have the first time you have an 11-point lead, it was demoralizing to go into that locker room when you're behind, especially after a start like that in a season that is what it is.
Yep.
But everybody's going to talk about the black shirts, and there's no – they've got dominated today. They got absolutely dominated, and guys that need to play well for 60 minutes didn't play well for 60 minutes. Guys came and went, and then other guys were on milk cartons the entire game.
I'm happy you said what you did about the half, because one of the keys that I had yesterday with John was, like, it's okay to go into the halftime, tied, of course, with the lead, even trailing, as long as the deficit doesn't feel and seem like it's bigger than it is. Remember last year, Gary, they go in down by 7 points. We know that it did not feel like a 7-point deficit given how that first half ended. Today's wasn't as bad. Today didn't feel like a 3-score game, and Nebraska had a really strong start to the second half especially, so it definitely flipped. But it did feel like, oh man, they had all that great work. They were humming on down the field. They were up 14-3, and then they're trailing 17-14. And that's why, man, I was so impressed at the start of the second half. They came out, they got a stop, they go down, they score right away. They get a stop, they score again. And the second stop that I just mentioned, I believe, was a turnover when they had the forced fumble. And, and then obviously the onside kick. And there are a million comments about that. I mean, that is the comment right now is about the onside kick, whether it's on YouTube, whether it's the email, whether it's the Twitter feed, whether it's a text machine, all that stuff.
Kudos to Northwestern, not only Helinski and Hull, but they also picked on guys from Nebraska on defense that they abused all day. I mean, once Hausman came onto the field late as a brand new first time he's out there, they picked on him right away. They picked on Omar Brown, and there was miscommunication on the first touchdown by Northwestern when it was 14-3. There were other guys that they picked on. They took advantage when Reimer went out of the game. So Reimer leaves due to injury there at the tail end of the first half. And what does that do? That opens up, and they immediately went to where Reimer would be. But the other part of today with Nebraska on the black shirts, and that number I wouldn't sleep on the plane coming back, is the amount of missed tackles.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't just one and the second guy comes in to clean up. It usually was one that led to two that maybe even led to three. I was waiting for Brock Hewer to use the word slippery on Evan Hull. And he is tough to bring down. I mean, he ran for 1,000 yards last year on a 3-9 team, but the inability to stop him and then to bring him down, just look at how many times that continued to drive for Northwestern.
Yeah.
And that's demoralizing on defense.
Evan Hull, 22 carries, 119 yards. Cam Porter, 1994. I mean, basically between them averaging 5 yards a tote. Both of them had touchdowns. Both of them had a long of 21. And that's the thing, Gary. Longs of 21 yards. So, and you see the yards per carry. That is consistent. That ain't, the Barry Sanders 2-3-2, -1-4, 90. That is consistent running that Northwestern had this afternoon.
Here is John is back for us. Hello, John.
Hey, John.
Hey, guys. Love your show.
Hey,
Thank you,
man.
John.
Hey, obviously everyone's going to talk about this, but the onside kick.
Yeah.
I want to know who made that final call to do that, especially when we had the momentum and we gave it right back to him. Who makes that call?
We won't know, John, until a little bit from now when that question will be asked for the head coach.
Okay. And then Casey Thompson looked great. Throws looked good. Second half was a different story.
Yep.
But what changed with the play calling that made us look not so sharp?
I mean, John, one of the things that I wonder, and Gary, I'm curious as to what you think. So Stu Manji sent me these numbers. This is pass plays and what happened in terms of pressure. So Helinski, for example, 38 total pass plays. He was blitzed 5 times. He was pressured 7 times, was hit no times. Meanwhile, Casey had 45 dropbacks. He was blitzed 7 times. He was pressured 16 times, and he was hit 7 times. And there was, 1 or 2 sacks at the end of the game. I can't remember if they got him again late. Yeah, so the second sack late. I wonder how much of it's that, where they were getting so close to getting him, so close, and then they finally were just able to get to him. And if that changed it. But I'm with you. The great completion. I don't know what happened from that moment into the rest of it. I know we've talked about conditioning. So it makes me want to have a follow-up of, did he get gassed on that play? But that doesn't really explain. I mean, that was still early enough in the second half.
So you remember when he slipped down the first sack? It looked like he was tired.
Yeah.
So Stu Manji, another thing. This is incredible. And this is another question for Casey Thompson when he speaks here after the game. So the 58-yard pass to Castaneda Garcia. After that pass, 6 of 16, 43 yards, 2 sacks, just 1 first down, and that's over the last 28 minutes of the game.
Oh, and you know what the first down is? It's the Trey Palmer play on the very last drive.
Yep.
Wow.
951-1620, Big Red Overreaction. There's Josh. I'm Gary, and here is Jim. Hello, Jim.
Hey, how are you? Yeah,
Good.
The onside kick didn't help.
Yep.
But when you start throwing interceptions again, it gave Northwestern inspiration that we were going to start making mistakes again, and we did.
Yeah,
the way it goes.
And you know that, Jim, we've all talked about this, and this is not just a Pat Fitzgerald thing. This is everybody. You play into the hands of Nebraska, and you wait for Nebraska to beat themselves. I mean, that's you would say, let's go take the game, but why not have the game handed to you? But
They gift wrap that to them. I can't believe it.
And by the way, we're just about to get Frost on the air.
Later.
Yeah, thank you, Jim. He said if I had it over, I wouldn't make the call. I assume that's about the onside kick. Do we have him chance? All right, let's go to Scott Frost.
And these guys need something to believe in, and we need to believe in ourselves as a team. I think they do. I don't think there's a guy in our locker room didn't think we were going to come win this game today. And I'm sure they'll think the same thing next week.
Coach, at 7 losses in a row now, what concerns do you have, if any, about your own future with this team?
Well, you got to win in this business to keep your job. That's the way it is. I love Nebraska. I love the state of Nebraska. I love these fans that sacrificed to come over here. I want to thank them. The guys, the coaches, they did everything the right way leading up to this. I wouldn't change a thing about the way we handled the travel. The kids were dialed in. I give Northwestern a lot of credit. Again, they were more physical than us, I thought, up front at times today, probably more than we were, and that was probably the difference. And we got to get this turned around.
How surprised were you about that?
I don't know if there was a big difference, but we certainly didn't dominate. And again, I give their staff a lot of credit too. There were some scheme things that they hit us on offense. I think we're going to have to learn as an offensive staff that you got to be a little creative in this league. So we have some things that we can work on. That we did a lot of good things, but it's got to be more of a complete game. Yeah, we did. That's been a good competition all camp. We played the guys that we thought had the best camp and really week leading up to this game. I think it'd have been a different kind of game. We'd have gotten more guys in, but it wasn't.
What did you think of Casey making his first start quarterback of the program? Is he good? Obviously,
Yeah, he did a lot of really good things again. But the good thing about having some new guys is we added a lot of talent to the team, Casey being one of them. There's a learning curve in this league, and I've gone through it. You just can't be -1 in turnovers and make a bad decision as a head coach on an onside kick and give up a cheap one. These games are all decided by 2 or 3 plays, and there's going to be 9 more of them this year like that. And we have to make sure we're on the right side of those plays.
What was the difference? First 2.5 quarters, Casey, last quarter and a half. And I know some of that wasn't him at all, but what was the difference in passing between those 2 passes?
I don't know if there was a difference with the quarterback. We lost Travis Vokalek for the game. That hurt us a little bit on a couple of them. We got to make sure we get them in the right stuff. Again, this is the type of game we're going to be in where you only get so many drives, and you got to take advantage of them. And 2 turnovers hurt. I think we were up 11 twice in the game and gave up the lead, which we can't do on defense. And we got to score when we're needed to on offense.
What were your impressions of the tackling, and how did it look tonight compared to how it's looked in practice?
I didn't think we tackled great in open space. I think when it was in the box, it was fine. That's my impression without watching it on tape. So, we missed a couple out in space that we can't miss. And we're going to play guys that are just as talented or more talented down the road. I thought their backs ran great. I thought they did a good job making one more cut and getting extra yards. But we certainly had opportunity to make more plays than we did.
Have you seen Casey make the kind of play that he did on the scramble on reversing field and throwing down to Isaiah? Is that something that you expect him to do?
Yeah, he's a better athlete than people think. He came out on fire, and we just didn't create any of those big plays when we needed to down the stretch. But we can't put ourselves in that situation. I'll take 7 of it for making the onside kick decision. You don't win a lot of games in the Big Ten giving up 31. So we have some things to answer on defense. If you can score 31, you usually win games, and we didn't on offense. So we have some things to look at there as well.
What are the challenges now to come back from this? You got this long plane ride. You got to turn around and play next season. How do you get these guys to focus in and knowing that they're still more
Culture, leadership, which is the best we've had. These guys need to do it for each other, and they will. We got a really tight team. Again, I can't say enough about how they approach this game. The travel over, everything that they did. This is a tight group, the tightest group we've had, and they're going to have to lean on that after a disappointing start.
How did you adjust to not calling the offensive plays yourself?
It's tough for me,
Yeah, it is.
I've said this, there's no one way to do things. But I think we can cooperate and a little bit more. Probably the thing that hurt our offense is when we got in situations where we were just running the ball. We weren't efficient enough. And when you gain yards on those plays, it gives you more opportunities to run the stuff that you think could hit big.
Coach, sorry, last question. I'm sorry. It's a hard one, but if things don't start going in the right direction, is there any point in time where you would consider stepping down?
No, absolutely not.
Wow.
I love Nebraska. I'm going to fight with the guys as long as I can fight.
All right, that's Scott Frost over in Ireland. I'm just going to say a couple quick things here, Josh, about two things that caught my attention here. We're going to go to break, and we'll go through all the calls. So Frost says, I made the onside call, so it's on me. I thought if we got it, we could end the game. If he had to do it over again, he would not. Okay, so that's the quote on that play. But then there is the quote that I'm going to have to get out of the studio and go walk outside of the studio for a moment. Quote, I think we're going to learn as an offensive staff that you have to be a little creative in this league. We are one game into this arrangement.
And we know all the other quotes. We know how he's, answered questions about giving up play calling before. And he was just asked about it again at the very end.
951-1620. The lines are jammed. Keep trying. We'll be here until 4 o'clock. Take your calls. Nate, Joe, CJ, Nebraska Ball Mike. And the rest of you can join in the Big Red Overreaction after Nebraska falls 31-28 to Northwestern. I want to leave you with this little nugget as we go to break. Today was the 49th victory in one-score games for Pat Fitzgerald since 2006. That is tied with LSU for the most during that time span amongst Power 5 schools.
Wow.
This is Big Red Overreaction. There's Josh. I'm Gary Chance here as well with all of you on 1620 The Zone.
That to-do list you have needs one more thing. Chill. It's an easy thing to do. Just crack open an ice-cold Coors Light and chill. Take the afternoon off and binge watch anything. Go to happy hour and stay for a couple hours. Who's counting anyways? Or hang out with just your dog because you've had enough human interaction this week. Whatever you do it with a Coors Light. Mountain cold refreshment made to chill. 2020 Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. Celebrate responsibly.
Sunday morning is all about church, eggs, and the Sunday paper. But right next to church, it's made for hot takes and reactions. Severe Reactions. Michael Severe is back on 1620 The Zone with Severe Reaction. Sundays 8 to 10 and doesn't hold back on what went right and what went wrong on Saturday. He'll also take calls from the most important voice of all, yours. Severe Reaction. Sundays from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. Powered by Equitable Bank. We take banking personally. Only on 1620 The Zone.
Hi, I'm Mark Evans, owner of Burton AC Heating, Plumbing, and More. The dog days of summer are here. We want to help keep your home safe and comfortable for you, your family, and your pets. That's why this month we're offering a special AC system check. Your $55 system check donates 10 pounds of pet food to the Nebraska Humane Society, so you can help feed a dog while you keep from being a hot dog this summer. Give us a call or request service at justcallburton.com.
Hello, I'm Doug Nodgard with Equitable Bank. If you've been dissatisfied with your current banking situation, maybe it's time to move to a bank that works to deserve your business. We have an engaged staff that offers exceptional personalized service. We also have a great digital banking platform. We have 2 locations at 108th and Dodge or 202nd and Pacific. So if you're looking for a superior banking relationship, give us a call at 402-827-8100. We'll answer on the first ring. Equitable Bank, we take banking personally. Member FDIC.
It's Big Red Overreaction, brought to you by Equitable Bank. We take banking personally. Big Red Overreaction continues in 1 minute on 1620 The Zone and 1019 The Keg. More info and opinions on Big Red than one station can handle. Now on 2 stations. Big Red Overreaction postgame on 1620 The Zone and 1019 The Keg. Sound off. 402-951-1620. Big Red Overreaction is sponsored by Burton AC Heating, Plumbing, and More. When your plumbing's hurting, just call Burton. Equitable Bank. We take banking personally. And Coors Light, keeping Nebraska chill.
3rd down, Thompson snaps off a throw, and this is intercepted. Cam Mitchell the other way for Northwestern. He got a block from Mueller, and he's inside the 45. It was Thompson that took him down, and the Wildcats flipped the field.
2 things in that play. Welcome back to Big Red Overreaction. There's Josh on Gary. That was back-to-back ill-advised throws by Thompson.
Yes.
But the effort by Oliver Martin has to be better on that pass.
Yeah.
I'd have to go back and look and see if it was deflected just a little bit, but the effort by the wide receiver, if it looks like it's going to be an interception and to make a play on the ball, has got to be better than that. The alligator arms can't be around. All right.
2 straight bad throws.
Ken says, are you guys really going until 4? Is that PM or AM?
No, I got an interview to do with Ross Pauly, and I'm calling Creighton soccer tomorrow. Gotta get out of here.
All right, here is Nebraska Ball Mike. Hello, Mike.
Hi.
Hey, Mike.
Oh, boy. How we doing?
Frost, 5 years ago when he came in, what did he say?
About the Big Ten adjusting to him?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Why do you say what he just said?
Yeah.
Here's the deal. Mark Whipple, you're going to know what Nebraska fans feels like and sounds like for the rest of the year. Mickey Joseph and family, you didn't come back for this. Scott Frost, you might be on borrowed time. And we didn't want to say that.
Well, that's the reality. He just said in this business, you got to win games. They're not winning games. They're 15 games below 500.
How in the world do you come in with all this hype and you make one? First of all, does any Nebraska coach in the last 60 years make that call on the onside kick?
Well, every coach has one of those calls that you kind of define them by. I mean, there's a Mike Riley call in Champaign, but when you're in a game which you are up 28-17 and you've taken back the football game, when it felt like when you were down by a field goal at halftime, didn't it feel like to you the game was over?
Yeah.
It was feeling that way?
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you flipped it, and for the second time in the game you had an 11-point lead. Yeah, that's something that's going to be awful tough to walk back from.
And outside of the secondary, I don't think we have one blackstreet.
Man, yeah, I mean, there were a lot of open guys today, Mike. There were a lot of open guys today, Mike.
Too many in the front seven not getting home either. We didn't do anything to get to him. We didn't do anything to freak them out. We didn't do anything to change the line of scrimmage. We didn't do anything.
Nope. Mike, call us during the week, all right?
We'll do.
By the way, you mentioned a couple quotes that stood out to you from the last segment. Frost also said, you got to win in this business to keep your job. That's the way it is. And then how about the question at the very end about resigning? You know, it's game one. It's game one.
So that was asked by an Irish reporter.
Yes. Yeah. I was going to say, I didn't recognize that guy's voice.
Was that the guy from the Irish Times? All right, here is Joe. Hello, Joe.
What is up, guys? How you hanging in there?
Hey, Joe. What's going on, man?
Oh, Husker game Saturday. You get some of these people that say, oh, it's so bad. It's so bad. We lost by 3. And
I hope no one
says
says
I'm not
that
making
today.
excuses for them, but, I'm just sort of maybe, pumping the brakes.
Joe, no, you're going to make excuses?
No excuses, maybe an explanation. Not excuses. I'm just talking, just like you guys do.
Okay.
Talk, right? First turnover, his knee was down. And, that's a bad break. But you got to overcome those things. The other two, like you guys just mentioned, Oliver Martin's got to make a better play on him. Same thing with the last interception. That hit the guy in the hands. And now, granted, it wasn't the best throw. And like I said, I'm not trying to make excuses for those things. I'm just saying that these people that are sort of calling in or that are, tweeting or whatever about it is so bad. It's, getting blown out 77 by
Joe,
Kansas.
come on, man. Are we really going to do the close loss thing again?
Is that what I'm doing?
It sounds if you're not doing it, you're really hugging it. You're getting close to it.
No, I'm just saying that it's not as bad as losing to Kansas 77-10.
Well, I mean, sure.
Losing by 3 to Northwestern isn't, it's not as bad as it's ever been. Losing by 77 or 60 to Kansas, that's
Joe, that
really
was a
bad.
52-point swing from last season. 52 points.
Right? So
that's bad.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm getting at. So you can pump the brakes on all that. I'm not making excuses for it. You got to win, but these are close games. They're all going to be close games. One of the biggest things I think is that we haven't seemed to have been able to get out of our own way, and then he calls kind of the play that he called that everybody's sort of up in arms about, and it's like the recipe to beat Nebraska is just kind of hang in there and let them make a mistake, let them stub their toe, and it's same old song and dance, But,
Joe, thanks for the call.
I'm not doing that this season again, man.
I'm gonna go out on a
do it.
limb and say Pat Fitzgerald was shocked that Nebraska went with an onside kick.
Oh yeah, gave him a short field, gave him a short 44-yard field or whatever it was. A tweet into the JTech Instruction Zone Twitter feed from Ethan. He says, when is the coaching staff going to learn to focus the energy in recruiting elite linemen? Can't convince me Petrus is that much better than Casey Thompson, yet Petrus looks elite. Oh, disagree with that, Gary. Because he isn't getting hit every drop back and can hand it off. Yeah, both lines sucked. Couldn't stop the run. Couldn't get a push. Couldn't do either.
Here's CJ. CJ, welcome to Big Red Overreaction.
Hey, gentlemen, can you hear me?
Hey, what's going on, CJ?
Got you, CJ.
Hey, good afternoon, guys. Another season, and just to have a couple comments and then just a question as well. Looking this season, and with Joe's last comment too, keeping it close. I mean, I'd rather have a blowout loss. I mean, at least I know that they're not going to win, and I can go out and wash my car type of deal. I don't like that mindset. And my family going in, I told them I'm not a negative boy, Josh. You would know this. Listening to your program. I'm a realistic boy.
Yeah.
I predicted 5-7. And they said, why 5-7? They were kind of yelling at me. I said, who have they beat off this schedule that they're playing? And I picked a win off Northwestern, and they lost. And I don't know if they're going to get to 5-7 now.
No, definitely not.
So my question is, what happened to this so-called pass rush that they were so confident in? I mean, I tried to rewind the game. I thought I missed it. O'Shawn Mathis, I didn't hear his name called at all hardly during the game.
I think they said his name once in the first half.
Crazy, absolutely crazy. But I love what you guys do with both your programs and the morning show. Gary with you and Damon, and Josh, you and John. Keep up the good work. I just a little concerned with the defense, how they were talking that up so much, and just would like to hear your thoughts on the pass rush. Thanks, guys.
Non-existent today was the pass rush
against the Northwestern offensive line. Here I turned four guys from last year, but not even close.
38 pass plays, 38 drops back for Northwestern. This is according to Stu Manji. 5 times Nebraska blitz. They pressured 7 times. They didn't even hit him once.
They got the closest they got. They forced an incompletion where Nelson got around Skowronski. And that was the only time that I can recall off the top of my head that they got near Helinski, and they took advantage of it. They played dink and dunk to begin the game, and he got into a rhythm. They never got him off his spot. And listen, Northwestern didn't make this game difficult. Northwestern made this game super simple.
Yeah.
I mean, they didn't overthink this football game. And a lot of that has to do with their head coach.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and Fitzgerald, he went for it certain times, especially, when it's 28-17, you got, fourth down, you can't get a timeout in, you're already angered. Uh, Nebraska got beaten almost nearly every phase except punting today.
Yeah, and look, they did that really well.
And I don't say that sarcastically.
No, seriously.
That's true, but that can't happen.
No, yeah. When your MVP is the punter, and the game isn't 9-6, you're having a miserable day. Miserable day.
Big Red Overreaction is brought to you by Burton. When your plumbing is hurting, just call Burton. Also, Coors Light, keeping Nebraska chill.
Do you have any Coors Lights with you, Gary?
I have not had a pork chop in a while. That's what I call a Coors Light. But we are drinking heavily along with everybody else and all the people that got free beer and alcoholic beverages at the stadium when the internet went out. Also, it is brought to you by Equitable Bank. We take banking personally.
Dave says pass rush looked amazing because they were going against our O-line. Look, I have been very consistent in my thoughts on the offensive line. That was such a bummer, though. It was just such a bummer. I thought of all the teams, Gary, that they were going to get a push on. This was going to be the one. I wanted to see just a little proof of concept today. Just a little bit where I could kind of talk myself into maybe this can happen as they develop a little bit over the course of the season.
All right, just remember after the 31-28 loss, Nebraska football is not normal. Just have that mindset as we bring in Nate. Hi, Nate.
Hey, Nate.
Nate,
Hey,
talk
am
to
I
the
on?
phone. Yes, you're on, Nate.
Well, I got my whole family here. First time caller,
All right.
long time listener.
First time, long time.
Hey, Nate, would you
Been a fan since the golden age.
Nate.
Growing up, the whole Husker fans every day. I believe eating the crimson. And guess what? 20 people are about my first house and made eggs and bacon for everybody.
All right.
Ross does it again.
Oh, awesome. I hope it was tasty. Better than the game.
So how long do we keep doing this?
The show?
No, how long we keep watching Frost do this every weekend?
11 more games, I think.
11 more, huh?
I think so.
So he better pull a DB Cooper on the way over.
Oh, boy.
Nice reference.
Yep.
All right.
DB Cooper on the way over.
All right. Okay, Nate. Have a good evening.
Yep. Bye.
You know the story about DB Cooper there, Gary? Yeah. Robbed a plane of money, jumped out. They never found him. Fascinating story from the 70s.
We have the most creative
Oh,
post-game
yeah.
show.
Oh, yeah.
People are going, do you think Trev Alberts called Pat Hayden to see how it's done?
Oh, that would be even harsh for Trev.
Here is Tim. Tim, thanks for the call. Welcome to Big Red Overreaction.
Hey, thanks for listening. First of all, the onside kick, if another 5 more yards off on the one side, I think it would have gone. However, when you're up, you don't need to do something stupid like that. And risk reward, it was obviously a loss. But the one thing that I don't understand is I want to hear Hernandez's answer why they didn't pressure the quarterback at all. I mean, that guy never got touched, never got saw, nothing. And how can you rely on your DBs when that guy's just sitting there in a pocket, living the dream and playing 7-on-7?
All right. Well, Tim, I think Eric Chenander is talking right now, and I'm pretty sure that people in Dublin will ask him that question because that needs to be a question of why the pass rush didn't get home at all today. Was it Northwestern's offensive line, or was it scheme, whatever it was, or was it the quarterback?
It was unbelievable that they couldn't put another, they couldn't put 2 or, blitz, 6-on-5 or whatever. But my God, when that guy sits back and picks you apart because he's got 4, 5, 6 seconds back there to do nothing but throw the ball. I mean, so frustrated watching it and just thinking, Jesus, if they would have just throw a couple more guys at him or anything.
Well, Tim, do you seeing the push that the front 4, front 5 had for Nebraska? Do you think they would have gotten home at all?
None.
Yeah,
none. None. Even you could even hear, which I'm not a fan of Brock Heward up there, but you can even listen to him, and he was completely honest about everybody looked like Velcro sticking up there. And they would go right up to the secondary and on the run plays, and they take the linebackers out. And it was like, where is anybody? You know, the infamous, the D line is going to be so great. We got rush ins, we got this, we got that, and next thing you know, there ain't nobody, not one person attacking that quarterback. It seemed like to me. I don't know.
Yeah, Tim, it's interesting because I mean, like, the pass rush was supposed to be the part of the defensive line that wasn't a concern. It was supposed to be the run part of the defensive line that was a concern. So that they struggled too. I think you asked a good question to them. What was the reason? Was it because of something Northwestern did? Was it Nebraska's ineptitude? Was it a combination of factors? I don't know. But that was. I didn't think they were going to destroy him today, but I definitely saw him putting him on the ground a couple of times at least. Maybe they don't get a sack, but I thought they put him on the ground.
So Helinski was 27 of 38 for 313. Northwestern ran 85 plays. 85 plays and had the ball 10 more minutes than Nebraska. That's the game plan for Northwestern. They executed their game plan. 527 yards to 466. Casey Thompson, 25 of 42. Touchdown, 2 picks, 355. Nebraska on the ground ran for 3.6 yards per rush. Northwestern ran for a full yard better than that. Here is our good friend Mike.
Oh, Mike Faber.
Got off the 18.
Josh, what are you doing?
Hey, well, hosting a radio show, just hanging out. What's going on with you?
Oh, yeah, I'm watching you on TV. It's kind of cool.
Yeah, nice. Oh, we hear ourselves now on a little echo.
Oh, is that my fault? I'll stand back. I think there's really not a lot left to say because you already talked about the onside kick, which was ridiculous with all the momentum. But the thing that the reason I even called, I've only done this a couple times. It was like everybody, and even I'm talking about the broadcasters, are talking about our new quarterback, feeling like something happened to him after a really big play. And I look back at that, and there's 5 receivers who touched the ball that didn't catch it. And it wasn't really Casey's issue, I don't think. He was scrambling in the pocket, and he really threw some good balls. The tight end dropped a couple.
Yep.
I don't
Trey
know.
Palmer.
Game number 3. Yeah, it was like he got a lot of kind of some. I guess I'm just kind of defending him a little bit because I thought he did a great job with our pocket dissolving. Lack of. I guess I feel like they're not really in great shape, offense and defense. You could see it late.
Yeah.
But I thought the quarterback played great. I think he made some really good throws, and we just didn't catch the ball when we needed to catch the ball for a first down.
Mike, thanks for the call. There's going to be drops. There's going to be times. And I think Whipple's pass concepts to get guys open were there. There were times that Casey was long. You saw they stretched the field with Palmer. They had an out to Garcia Castaneda that looked like it could have gone for good yardage. But that was kind of the start of when Casey started to miss on those throws that he had been better in the first half.
Kind of sailed a few of them.
He had a roller coaster game. But I just don't. Did he run out? Did the scramble play? Did that take everything out of him?
See that, and that's going to be my question. Because if everyone was fatigued, that would explain something, wouldn't it?
So you start to look at his mechanics after that play.
Yes, that's a great point.
His mechanics were off. I mean, he's not the most mechanical quarterback, but he did not look like the same kind of quarterback throwing the football that he did in the first half. And I would like, did he just run out of gas on that play? I understand it. And it was early on in the third quarter, that was drunk and took forever. But he was never the same quarterback. And Nebraska offensively, really, after they scored the Grant touchdown, they were never the same as a whole.
Yeah, just a lot of quick drives. A lot of quick drives where they weren't doing a whole lot.
Let's welcome in Jeff to Big Red Overreaction. Hello, Jeff. You're on with Josh and Gary.
Hey, guys. I got one thing to say. Are we shocked?
No.
We're talking about zero integrity of a coach that we hired 5 years ago. The man has zero integrity. We're shocked. He is this awful. Take the same group of kids with another coach. They're winning those games.
That it, Jeff?
Okay.
Here is Dave. Hello, Dave.
Hi.
Hey.
How's it going?
Hi, Dave.
Yeah. Basically, as a season ticket holder, I really just can't imagine going to 7 games of watching the same stuff over.
Yeah.
And I was suckered into renewing my season tickets because of the new coaching staff and the players. And I'm more optimistic than most, but God, that's just hard. That is just so hard. So that's kind of where I was at. We all watched it. I don't know. And as fans, I don't know. You put so much into it, which isn't the same as players because they work hard. I get that. And I don't want to be that fan, but yeah, I'm becoming that fan. So it's really hard. And it's kind of sad because it's August. We haven't hit September yet. We haven't hit week 1.
Yes, Dave.
But,
Dave, thanks for the call. I could not agree with you more.
What did I say to you a little bit ago?
Yeah. And look, it's not like I had a ton of optimism with this season to begin with, but it sucks. It sucks the energy out of the entire season. You have 2 now incredibly forgettable games that the storyline is going to be like, what if something dumb happens and along the lines of the call, will there be a lot of empty seats? And then after that, you have Oklahoma coming in. And I know that optimism will grow over the next couple of weeks because that's how things work. But I think we know what we're staring down the barrel at. And then it's like, okay, we're probably talking about a 2-2 football team. And it's just, it feels like the same thing all over again from last year. Can I ask you a couple things about the onside kick? Because I got a tweet and a text. So Tony says, I don't believe Frost is dumb enough with the program where it is to have called the onside. He's jumping on the grenade. On the exact opposite end of the spectrum, Taylor says, I wonder if the onside kick call is a case of Scott Frost not being the play caller anymore and looking to make his mark on the game.
The latter, I will say no. Now, there is the discussion about, does Frankie have the option to call essentially an audible if he sees something? Now, that's a lot of power to give a kickoff specialist, but there is that element that I think does exist. But boy, you would almost have to go through the chain of command if that's what you decided that you wanted to do.
Yeah.
Now, everybody, it wasn't Frankie on his own. I mean, everybody for Nebraska, they knew that was coming. And he looked at 3 guys up from Northwestern. I don't think it was – I think Frost is probably taking it for the team here.
Yeah.
But again, he's the CEO of the program, and so he's got to address it.
So whose call do you think would have been, Bush's or –
Well, I'm going back and it may be Bill Bush, because if you look at the camera and the Shoddy Fox coverage today.
Oof, they were
and
rough.
I felt for Benetti and Heward. They were in Los Angeles.
Yep.
So there were times during the game that if you're in the house, you can see flags or other things that they were, trying to pick out of all the different monitors and somebody that was helping them. But Fox at times would give you not good shots. They did follow Frankie to the sidelines. And Bush kind of passing, you could see Bush say something to him as Frankie walked by.
Okay.
And so I'm wondering if it's more of a case of Bush called that. If he said, here's an option if you see it.
Yeah.
And when they were out there lining up, he called for the onside kick.
Yeah.
I mean, we may never know the answer to that.
Mm-hmm.
But in this case, I don't think it was Frost on his own, but I think it's something where you got to have a feel for the game. You're Scott Frost or Bill Bush.
That's the hot hand, man. That's the hot hand. That's what they thought.
You're up 28-7.
Yeah.
And
2017.
And 28-17. And things all of a sudden are going your way.
In that moment, it's like one more stop.
And you might be even on the sidelines going, man, you might stand next to your friend and go, dude, we're up 11. Doesn't feel, I mean, how are we up 11?
Yeah, had the bad second quarter. Troy and Phoenix points out, didn't Frost do this when they were up on Ohio State in his first year? They did do an onside kick. And that, I mean, one of the worst plays of the entire Frost era, as Caleb Lightbourne completely missed it. But yeah, I think you make a great point. Like in that moment, you kick the ball off deep, you get one more stop. I'm not going to say it's over, but you are feeling so good because you are dominating the second half so far. Dominating.
Well, and a good chance that you're going to make Northwestern drive at 75 on you instead of driving at 44?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly.
Here is Mike in Wisconsin. Mike, thanks for listening to Big Red Overreaction on the stream.
Hey, guys. Thanks for letting me on.
Hey, Mike.
I'm sure you guys are tired of talk about the onside kick. But what I'd like to see is offensive stats before the onside and after. I think the onside kick sent the message to a new quarterback that we don't trust you. And his play deteriorated significantly in all of the drives that they had after.
Mike, can I ask a follow-up? Like, why do you think it would have sent that message? Because I in a way thought it meant like we believe in the offense a lot right now, and we want to close this game out.
Well, then why would you give the ball back?
I mean, poor decision making in general, but I don't think it would have been because he doesn't trust his QB. That's just me, though.
Yeah, that's a fair point. I guess I'm just going to leave it at that. And Chenander sitting on his laurels, apparently, for an off season. But I'm holding out to hear Hawkeye Jack and what insane garbage he has to say after this game. And all of it's fair. I think Frost has to go.
Yeah.
Mike,
he asked the question, what happened after that? And I don't have Casey's numbers in front of me, Gary, but I have the drive chart.
So let me just, I tweeted this out.
Okay.
Because this was, Northwestern was driving to kick they could have scored and they missed the field goal. So that was 28-24. But when Nebraska went up 28-17, then the onside kick, the next two possessions offensively, 6 plays, 11 yards, 2 punts. And then Northwestern was driving to take the lead.
That's when they had another weird third down play and they missed a field goal.
And then they missed the field goal, and it was 28-24 at that point.
And then they go 6 plays interception, 4 plays punt, 3 and out, and then the final drive where they threw the interception after 4 plays. So they ran a total of 3, 6, 12, 16, 19, 23 plays, and I don't want to do the math on the air. I'm almost there. 70, 80, looks like 85 yards. 85 yards after the onside kick. For the
there's another question, and Twitter's just on a speed dial.
Yeah.
And this probably won't. This may or may not come up because now Frost is done. So you're gonna have to save this question for this upcoming week. Is what happened with the running back rotation as you got to the late third, fourth quarter? Where was Grant consistently? Now, I think A.J. Allen's got a bright future. I never thought that A.J. Allen would get a key carry in the fourth quarter of a Big Ten game in his first game. But that opening drive where you had bang, bang, Nebraska went Allen and they had Belt. They got a couple passes completed to Belt.
Yeah.
But the running back rotation was very odd today. I don't think we ever saw Gabe Ervin. We had Yant. We had, of course, Grant. You had Allen run the football. Ramir Johnson played special teams. I don't recall, and it's tough on the television view.
Yeah, I'd always see him.
Seeing if he was in on, playing the position, the wide back.
Yeah, he never had any touches.
Yeah.
No touches on offense.
But I'm curious on what was going into the mindset of what was going on at running back. Was it something about Grant? Because also it didn't appear that Grant got a lot of back-to-back series during this game. Now, there were times where he really ran hard, like early on, got a first down on a 3rd and 1 on the opening drive, and had the touchdown run. But I don't recall him playing many back-to-back series, and I don't know why. Is that something that was pre-planned, something injury-wise? But that seemed odd to me, and especially the running back rotation late in the game.
And of all the positions, hasn't that been like one of the ones with the weirdest rotations? And of course, this is a new coach now, Brian Applewhite. It's not Ryan Held, but this has been a position very consistent with odd, strange rotations at that position.
All right, 4:13. Let's take a quick break. Jarrett, Blake, Joe in Phoenix, and Sam. All stay right there. We'll get to your calls tonight. Josh said he's got to be out of here in about 20 minutes. So I said, all right.
Gotta leave. Sorry, folks.
Do that. 951-1620. You can always email us, Gary or Josh at 1620thezone.com, or, of course, on Twitter at Gary Sharp 1620 or at Josh Peterson.
This edition of Big Red Overreaction brought to you by Equitable Bank. We take banking personally. Also brought to you by Coors Light. Please, someone get me one. Keeping Nebraska chill. And brought to you by Burton. When your plumbing's hurting, just call Burton.
Hi, I'm Mark Evans, owner of Burton AC Heating, Plumbing, and More. The dog days of summer are here. We want to help keep your home safe and comfortable for you, your family, and your pets. That's why this month we're offering a special AC system check. Your $55 system check donates 10 pounds of pet food to the Nebraska Humane Society, so you can help feed a dog while you keep from being a hot dog this summer. Give us a call or request service at justcallburton.com.
Hello, I'm Doug Nodgard with Equitable Bank. If you've been dissatisfied with your current banking situation, maybe it's time to move to a bank that works to deserve your business. We have an engaged staff that offers exceptional personalized service. We also have a great digital banking platform. We have 2 locations at 108th and Dodge or 202nd and Pacific. So if you're looking for a superior banking relationship, give us a call at 402-827-8100. We'll answer on the first ring. Equitable Bank, we take banking personally. Member FDIC.
That to-do list you have needs one more thing. Chill. It's an easy thing to do. Just crack open an ice cold Coors Light and chill. Take the afternoon off and binge watch anything. Go to happy hour and stay for a couple hours. Who's counting anyways? Or hang out with just your dog because you've had enough human interaction this week. Whatever you do it with a Coors Light. Mountain cold refreshment made to chill. 2020 Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. Celebrate responsibly.
It's Big Red Overreaction, brought to you by Equitable Bank. We take banking personally. Big Red Overreaction continues in 1 minute on 1620 The Zone and 1019 The Keg. More info and opinions on Big Red than one station can handle. Now on 2 stations. Big Red Overreaction postgame on 1620 The Zone and 1019 The K. Sound off. 402-951-1620. Big Red Overreaction is sponsored by Burton AC Heating, Plumbing, and More. When your plumbing's hurting, just call Burton. Equitable Bank. We take banking personally. And Coors Light, keeping Nebraska chill.
Equal opportunity. High snap. Thompson rescues it and rolls out to look down the field and make a playable pass inside the 25 to Vokalek.
So at the tail end of the press conference, or Scott's media availability, he was asked by an Irish reporter if he would consider stepping down. And Frost responded, "No, I love Nebraska. I'm going to fight with the guys as long as I can fight." But he did say, is this the second question, Josh?
Did we miss one?
Well, the one about in this business, you've got to win to keep your job.
That was a little bit earlier. That was in, I think, the middle of the press conference.
Was that off? Was that, and we may not have caught that one. Was that off a question or was that unsolicited?
I believe that was a question, I think. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong.
All right, back to the phones we go. Big Red Overreaction. There's Josh. I'm Gary. This is Blake. Good afternoon, Blake.
Hey, Blake.
Hey, guys. How's it going?
Good.
So I'm the one who wrote you guys an email maybe a couple months ago, and I titled it Help. You guys remember the email where I was trying to defend the state of the program and against a bunch of my friends?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, I'm struggling now. I never expected a repeat. My justification for the improvement was, hey, we got a new offensive coordinator, a bunch of new players, and here we are with the same result. So my question to you guys, and I'll hang up and let you chat about it, is why would we keep kicking the can down the road if this inevitable change, as it appears will happen, is going to happen? I'm almost starting to think of the opinion that, hey, let's take the next 2 games. Let's do something drastic. Let's bring somebody in. I know it's going to cost us, $10 million? But let's do something totally dramatic and get a new guy in here with some opportunity to create some momentum before Oklahoma. It feels like the writing's on the wall for Scott, and I was probably the biggest supporter for him, and it's sad to see. So I'll hang up and let you guys respond to that.
Yeah, I'll take this one, Gary. So I wouldn't do it now. I mean, look, the monetary stuff aside, I hate that idea because you could have done it last year. And maybe that's a stupid reason not to fire him now, but you made your bed. You got to sleep in it, I would say, at least until October 1st. And maybe that's wrong. Maybe that's wrong because a new person, new blood, new leadership could turn things around, and maybe you have a great motivator, because we see that all the time, don't we, Gary? A team gets a new coach, they have a game against an opponent that is better than them, and they pull off the upset, and they kind of ride that momentum. I wouldn't do it, though. I would not do that. I don't think that that's the right decision for this moment in time, because again, I would say you should have done it last year. That's a panic move. If you're going to fire a guy now, it's a panic move.
And remember, I've said this season is easy for Trev because results start to reveal themselves. It looks like a panic move, or what you just said leading up to this game, that you like some of the things that you're seeing, that in one game that completely changed, that you get rid of a guy, which I don't think Trev will get rid of Scott during the course of the season.
No,
unless it goes south and Nebraska, one score games turn into 4 score losses.
Yeah. I mean, we're talking about like 1-5 like type stuff.
Yes.
That's what Matthew tweets in on at BR Overreaction. Frost should be fired when he steps off the plane in front of everyone watching them from the terminal. Otherwise, no one will go to the games this season. See, in a way, Gary, the last sentence is kind of why, again, I'm like, don't do it now. This decision is already going to be divisive enough, no matter when it happens. But you are lighting stuff on fire if you do it now, and it's not healthy for the program. And maybe that shouldn't matter, but it does, and it definitely matters for Trev, and it certainly matters for the leadership. So,
and does Trev Albert strike you as a guy that's going to listen to everybody saying this is what you should do? When has he done that during his?
Yeah, exactly.
During his entire athletic administrative career,
yeah.
He's sitting there again. The job is very easy for him. The only way, and this is just my opinion, that he relieves Scott Frost of his head coaching duties before the season has ended is if there is something that is non-football related that he is not comfortable with. Mm-hmm. That Nebraska football cannot move forward with somebody who he is not comfortable with leading his football program. Wins and losses aside.
Yeah.
Now, you make up your decision, but again, it's easy. You watch things play out. The results will reveal what a decision is. It's very easy for Trev Alberts. And we'll see and he may think this year is going to go south, and I'm going to watch. Well, how closely will he be watching this week?
Yeah. Jason says Trev will give Scott the rope to hang himself. Look, like that.
That's why I keep saying Trev's job is really easy.
It's a dark, obviously not the rope part, but it's a dark idea. But it's like, look, he has it in front of him. You Scott, you control this. You do well, you're coming back. You don't do well, and you're getting fired. That nobody wants gray area. Nobody wants gray area. And a comment on YouTube, it's already on fire. What's the point? Again, if you do that now, it's a panic move. You should have done it last year. Maybe Trev has never believed in him. Maybe he doesn't believe in him today. Maybe he was hamstrung last year. And I think he was. But you got to let this play out at least a little bit longer. I think until at least October 1st. I will say keep him. You got to keep him at this moment in time.
Here is Joe in Phoenix. Hi, Joe. It's been a while.
Well, good afternoon, Word of God and Mr. 2 and 26. How we doing today, boys?
Hi, Joe.
How about that record? Well, I was the one that came up with this idea for this godforsaken show.
Ha!
And the thing is that when I turned it on and you said that, I laughed hysterically for probably about 2 minutes after that.
Yeah, so does my liver after every one of these shows.
First of all, I would like to say this. By now, if you haven't heard me on Twitter or if you haven't heard me on one of the very fine shows that 1620 The Zone has to offer, I am now probably the most anti-Scott Frost guy there is. And I mean, at this point, all joking aside, Gary, you couldn't be more spot on. This is going to take care of itself. Do I think it already has? Absolutely. Do I agree with Josh? 1,000,000 times over. I mean, they should have fired him last year. I mean, you can make all these changes that you want to the offensive coordinator, to the running back coach, to the offensive line coach, which I do believe, and I believe what John and Josh had said it. And I haven't heard you guys much on the morning, Gary, because you're just up so damn early. At least
radio replays.
Yeah, I mean, you guys start at 4 a.m. here, so I mean, forget that.
Understandable.
But anyway, I thought they brought in Riola for the sheer hope that they might get Dominic or whatever his name was.
Dylan.
And then of course there's Dylan. Thank you. And then of course Bill Bush. Well, that was 2 years too late. And I mean, this narrative that they were close. When you bring in 16 transfer guys from the portal, and you're starting 8 of them, you're not close. And I mean, you can make all these changes, but the results and what we've seen all indicate the same thing. Unless you change what's at top, it's not going to matter. And I've been saying this now for the last month jokingly that, Nebraska football 2022, the season should be titled A Time to Die.
And I mean, this is a lost season. And I thought this from the minute they kept him last year, that this season was simply going to be a wasted year, because even if he goes 7-5, you figure that most of those guys that would brought that energy and that, they're going to be gone next year anyway. So then you're starting all over again. And could he sustain it, after this year if they, pull lightning out of, lightning out of a bottle? And I don't think they could. So now my question is, and I'll be the first to say it out loud, how much do you think it's going to cost for us to get Dave Miranda out of Baylor? I mean, let's start the conversation now, because, I mean, we all know what's going to happen here. They're going to win next week, possibly, who knows, but they should win the next 2 games. Oklahoma's going to come in. Even if they figure out a way to beat Oklahoma, which I don't think they will, because I just think Oklahoma's too talented, and they got coaches that know what they're doing. I mean, that discussion, and I know that, as a radio show like you guys all have, you don't want to start talking about new head coaches in week 2, but I mean,
week 0.
The writing's on the wall. I mean, this is over. I mean, we're looking at possibly, I think, and I asked this on Twitter, can we start a poll through the radio station and fans that want to do this? How close Frost can get to 40 losses before they fire him? I mean, if he goes 1-11, he gets to 40, 20-40. I mean, it's there for the taking. I mean, it's just ridiculous. And I joke because I'm so tired of this, and it hurts me. I'm a lot like Jack Mitchell. I used to be like that, when they were, when we were good. And as these last 22 years have gone, it is literally just taking it out of me. And I can't even imagine being a season ticket holder and having to go to these games next week or for the rest of the year, knowing what might be coming down the pike.
Joe, thanks for the call. So this is the part of the guys that are in the locker room that don't get, don't wear headsets during games. If you're going to hear chatter that the season is over and now let the inevitable happen and you'll just fix it for next year. If I'm a guy that's in that locker room, I'm calling BS to your face. And it's on you, because you played one football game and the vibe that you had and the validation was nowhere to be found. And you can take, it's a team loss, but I'm a player. We're going to find out pretty quickly about that locker room. I know people rolled their eyes when Frost said culture, because you don't want to hear it.
Guilty.
But this is the part of now the next step is, what are guys on that team going to do? Because if I'm like a Caleb Tanner and I came back, I'm not letting one game ruin my year.
It can't, Gary.
And here's the, this is a program that when they get squeezed, their true identity comes out, whether you're a player or a coach. Okay. Close games, 5-21. I mean, the fact that year 5, you can rattle off all these kind of records, 15-30, 5-21, on and on and on, that are not good numbers on the right side. So they're going to fly back here, and they don't get to, they don't get to spend time in Dublin. They got to get back on a plane. They got to get out of Dublin, and they will land early in the morning here in Omaha. Then they will bus back. Guys will go to school for the first time in the second week of school. They also will play a football game, okay? They also will have some jet lag.
Yeah.
They will also, there will be a hiccup for them coming back. Next week, the following week, and leading up to a game where it's going to be a profile game because you got Fox's pregame show in the house, and right now you're a laughing stock of college football. You're going to need players. They're going to have to look in the mirror and say, this stops right now. The next 3 weeks are not about Frost, Whipple, Chenander, Raiola. The next 3 weeks are about guys that wear a helmet and play football at Nebraska, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's a great point. And you almost look at the end of that 3-game swing, because that's the last one before an off week, before the Indiana game, which is the buyout game, where it decreases. And yeah, you make a tremendous point. If any of those players feel that way, I know that I was frustrated by a caller earlier who was like, hey, at least it wasn't a blowout. That's how the blowouts start. The blowouts really start for programs and players that know that their coach is gone. That we can all be frustrated with how things have gone, and we can all be frustrated with this position coach or that position coach or even the head coach in general. But players believe in these guys enough to go to a university, and their families believe in them enough to go to a university. I can't imagine what it's like to have all of that just cut out from underneath you. 2007, everybody knew the writing was on the wall. 2017, everybody knew the writing was on the wall. Those seasons completely fell apart. And so if the players think that that's actually going to be the case, that's when you start really worrying about the margin of victory in some of these games.
Let the coaching staff deal with the fact they got outsmarted today. You got to figure out why you got out-muscled. That's a player chore.
Yeah.
And I thought we retired the word close.
I know, man. Me too.
Okay, so Northwestern wasn't close last year, and they had a similar season to Nebraska.
Yeah.
What did they do in the offseason that Nebraska didn't do? Because Northwestern's football program is better than your football program right now.
Yeah. A text real fast from the 402 says, Alberts did what he had to do. He kept Frost because he had to. He didn't have enough time after he got hired to find a good replacement. Alberts used it to lower the buyout and pretend he thought it could work, but it was all intended to buy Alberts time to find his next coach and reduce the buyout. Alberts never thought Frost was going to have a great year.
I said this back when it happened. Trev looked at Scott and said, no one is worth $20 million firing. Okay? So you've made your bed. We're gonna let you continue and let's find a way, but we're also going to protect us. Okay? And we're going to see if this works. Remember, I'm going to say publicly, but boy, the metrics tell me this isn't going to work. But we're going to find a way to work. But we're going to make you good, but we're really going to take care of ourselves. And then I'm going to sit back and I'm going to watch all this, how it unfolds.
Yeah.
And it's not just wins and losses, Scott. It is the entire relationships inside of the program between you and your staff, you and your players, and how the growth or what the feel is for this program. And then we'll move forward. I mean, are they going to sit next to each other on the plane coming home? I mean, there's really nothing Trev can do. See, I think Trev's got an easy job. I continue to say this. He can just sit there and watch.
Yeah. And you can be mad all you want. And I understand it about like the PR game and what, if pissing off fans and how much that should matter, how much it shouldn't matter. I get it. But it does matter. And it matters with this head coach in particular, more than any head coach before him, because he still has people, powerful people in his corner. It shouldn't matter maybe, but it does. And so if you at least understand that, you can be mad about it, but you understand it, I think it makes this process a lot easier for you because then, just let the season unfold. And if a decision has to be made, when the decision has to be made, they'll make that decision.
Well, and there's the other element of a game like this where you lose is how many pointing of fingers do you have? Whether it be adults or kids in the room, how many people are pointing fingers? I'm guessing inside of that locker room, there are some guys that are pointing fingers today. That's not a good thing after week 0. Yeah, now you want a test case? This next week in Nebraska football will be the ultimate test case to see how all of this comes together.
Well, I think you'll probably like this quote then from Buford. He was talking, this is a tweet from Mitch Sherman about 20 minutes ago, just saw it now. I can't wait to see where we go from here. We played the worst game we're going to play all year, and we still only lost by 3. That's pretty scary. You can say, I don't agree with you, but that is the mindset you need to have in this moment. You do have to have the mindset of like, we played horrible and we only lost by 3. You have to believe that. You have to believe that way, as wrong as it might be to us.
Here is, let's get Sam. Hello, Sam. Welcome to Big Red Overreaction.
Hey, thanks for having me on.
Hey, Sam.
Hey, I was, I know you've been talking about coaching changes and things, but I was thinking about back to the game. I didn't hear anyone mention about, I thought at the end of the first half, there was some poor coaching choices. Calling those 2 timeouts on defense where we could have run the clock out, but we kind of helped Northwestern have extra time to score that touchdown. And I thought, there's 7 points. That would have been the difference in the game. So your thoughts on that?
Well, I think there's those are timeouts that they were called during the summer and whatever happened here in August with conditioning. You called timeouts to save your defense from just grasping it.
I also don't think that they thought they were going to go for it on 4th and 1 from their own, territory.
Was that Sam?
I thought that they were trying to save time for the offense.
Yeah, and I don't think they thought that Northwestern was going to go for it on 4th and 1. I think you got to call those timeouts because you want the ball back. You want the ball back. You want to go down and score. I'm not going to be critical of those timeouts.
Well, I thought run the clock out and go ahead. 17. What was it? 17 to. It would have been 14-10. But I thought, don't give them extra time. So that's just my coaching theory on that.
All right. I mean, well,
Sam,
and
thanks for the call.
Again, I'll disagree. So they called the timeout. I don't know. Okay, they called their second timeout with looks like 2:04 left in the half, and then that led to third down. They held them to 3 yards. They called a timeout with 1:53 left. You got to call those timeouts. You want the ball back. You want the ball back. You want to try to go down the field and score. We're not going to be critical of those timeouts. No.
One more before break. Here is Jarrett in Georgia. Hello, Jarrett.
Hey, how are y'all doing?
Good.
I'm a listener, first time calling in. I guess I've sat on my tongue too long now. I felt like I needed a voice a little bit.
Thanks for the call, man. We appreciate it.
Well, I'm going to build off what the guy said 2 calls ago, kind of frustration over the last 22 years. And let me kind of shock everyone what I'm about to say. I would take a good high school football coach that ran the option in the future ahead of Nick Saban, Dabo Swinney, Bill Belichick. And let me build on that. I'm going to use the words of Tom Osborne. Because where we're located in a cold weather, low populated state, we will never recruit the blue bloods that the warm weather big schools get year in and year out when we're doing the same thing they do. Tommy Frazier is quoted as saying, the only reason I ended up at Nebraska was because no one in the Southeast would let me play quarterback. I just truly believe, as Tom said, not my words, we need to be unique, become hard to prepare for, to get back to the top. And it's been 22 years. We've tried everything but Canadian League rules on offense. Yeah, we've had some decent offenses. I always seem to crack when the pressure was on. I just wonder, has blocking schemes changed? Can you not take – Lord, today was a sign. We ran the option one time, 8 yards, went for a face mask. We had more. And I'm not saying you change back to that. We win a national championship next year. But there's been little signs. Last year when Scott ran it, 90 – and I went and watched these games. 90% of the drive we ran options, we scored touchdowns on. It disappeared for the next quarter and a half, like against Iowa, for example. It's just. I truly believe, because of where we're located. Remember, Scott had more talent in Orlando within 200 miles of him than we'll have in the entire state of Nebraska in the next 5 years. And Osborne said it years ago, we tend to grow the big guys, but we typically got to go out of state for the skill set. And I still believe that can work today. People say the defenses, et cetera, et cetera. Well, you may recall a write-up in Sports Illustrated about 1983, right after we had lost to, at Iowa State. The red is dead. 83. Today's off-speed on defense, et cetera, the antiquated offense like an option attack, which we were never a pure option. We were a power-running team with the option built in, but said it wouldn't work. And what happened after that when you got the right horses? So therefore, I don't know, maybe back then we had the entire state promoting it through the high schools coming all the way up. But I'm just a firm believer, for us to ever become relevant again, we're going to have to become unique, hard to prepare for, because we just cannot battle the big schools for the same studs. Now, if Warren Buffett were to decide to give us an unlimited check, now do the NIL, maybe we could then. But I just don't see. And listen, I've made this comment so many times. I would love to be proven wrong. But so far, it just hadn't happened. So I don't know if y'all ever had any thoughts on that. I hear this stuff at different coaches. I'm like, Nick Saban didn't win it at Michigan State. He won it when he got to states that had a ton of talent. So, again, I just believe, low populated cold weather state, we will always have trouble recruiting against the Ohio State, Georgia's, trying to get that same stud that everybody wants. And just take someone that was pretty decent, Jake Fromm, that played at Georgia a few years ago. Why would he ever go to Nebraska, skip over so many more?
Jarrett, come on, man. Like, the problem is not that they don't have 5 stars. Like,
Jared, I appreciate
he
the
seemed
call.
like a nice guy. He was a very nice man, but that's not the issue. We are not. They didn't just lose to Alabama, Gary. They didn't just lose to Georgia. This wasn't Michigan in the playoff last year. They lost to Northwestern, a team they beat by 49 points last year, and they lost by 3. It's a 52-point swing. Like, come on. Eventually, I would love to be able to say, like, hey, how does Nebraska win national titles again? We got to talk about how do they get above 500 again, and that's better coaching, period. End of story. They have good enough players to win 6 games.
We'd all love to have a Tommy Frazier.
Oh, my gosh.
But you know what the identity of that team was? There were 5 guys up front. Nebraska offensive line recruitment development is a major problem.
Yeah.
It's
they're loaded with good players in theory.
People outside of here, we will talk in the offseason. They'll go, when do you what will you know when Nebraska is back? Is it a big victory? And I will immediately say no. When they have started to develop all conference linemen that are multi-year starters and they get into a rotation of they just churn guys out. And instead of guys having better pro careers than they have college careers, their really good college career matches their NFL career, or their college career trumps their NFL career. But they will be back. Nebraska will be back. And this will be the sign, is when they are competent on the offensive line with 5 across and another 5 that are standing behind them. That, when in the heydays of the 90s, yes, there were some incredible skill players. And there was a guy that was beating people with an arm tied behind his back as a coach and a play caller. But he couldn't have done all of that if it wasn't for the offensive line up front. They would probably still be successful, but not the way they were.
Yeah, and that's why the decision to bring in Raiola is so baffling. Guys learning on the job in the most important season of Scott Frost's coaching career.
Well, sometimes also you don't have talent. I mean, a couple of things today reared your ugly head. Struggles with offensive line recruiting, developing guys not making the next step on their own. I mean, that's we knew that going in. And so I asked this question about the offensive line. Did the offensive line for everybody play like you thought they were going to play? Because nobody said, oh, man, I love this offensive line. What was everybody's concern?
Offensive line.
Was offensive line. So
running the football.
In hindsight, did Nebraska's offensive line basically, they did what you thought they were going to do today? And then you shift over to the other side of the ball, and you were worried about the interior of the defensive line stop and run. Then you take another step on the defense and you go, well, I didn't expect that to happen, and now we've got a discussion going here.
Mm-hmm.
We'll take a quick break. This Big Red Overreaction brought to you by Equitable Bank. We take banking personally. Brought to you by Coors Light, keeping Nebraska chill. Brought to you by Burton. When your plumbing's hurting, just call Burton. There's Josh. I'm Gary. We're back with Kurt, Brian, Dennis, Jeff, and a whole host of others on Big Red Overreaction after Nebraska loses another Week 0 game. They start the year 0-1, 0-1 in their own division.
0-1 now for the fourth time in 5 years, right? South Alabama, the only season opening win.
They should have skipped the first week moving
Maybe
forward.
they should, or at least Week 0.
All right, 31-28, Northwestern rallies to beat Nebraska. Nebraska twice led by 11 points in the first half and the second half. They will open up on Saturday against North Dakota in week number 1 of college football. So with the eyes of America watching today, Nebraska couldn't get out of their own way.
That to-do list you have needs one more thing. Chill. It's an easy thing to do. Just crack open an ice-cold Coors Light and chill. Take the afternoon off and binge watch anything. Go to happy hour and stay for a couple hours. Who's counting anyways? Or hang out with just your dog because you've had enough human interaction this week. Whatever you do it with a Coors Light. Mountain Cold Refreshment made to chill. 2020 Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. Celebrate responsibly.
Sunday morning is all about church, eggs, and the Sunday paper. But right next to church, it's made for hot takes and reactions. Severe Reactions. Michael Severe is back on 1620 The Zone with Severe Reaction. Sundays 8 to 10 and doesn't hold back on what went right and what went wrong on Saturday. He'll also take calls from the most important voice of all, yours. Severe Reaction. Sundays from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. Powered by Equitable Bank. We take banking personally. Only on 1620 The Zone.
It's Big Red Overreaction. Brought to you by Equitable Bank. We take banking personally. Big Red Overreaction continues in 1 minute on 1620 The Zone and 1019 The K.
Hello, I'm Doug Nodgaard with Equitable Bank. If you've been dissatisfied with your current banking situation, maybe it's time to move to a bank that works to deserve your business. We have an engaged staff that offers exceptional personalized service. We also have a great digital banking platform. We have 2 locations at 108th and Dodge or 202nd and Pacific. So if you're looking for a superior banking relationship, give us a call at 402-827-8100. We'll answer on the first ring. Equitable Bank, we take banking personally. Member FDIC.
More info and opinions on Big Red than one station can handle. Now on 2 stations. Big Red Overreaction postgame on 1620 The Zone and 1019 The K. Sound off. 402-951-1620. Big Red Overreaction is sponsored by Burton AC Heating, Plumbing, and More. When your plumbing's hurting, just call Burton. Equitable Bank. We take banking personally. And Coors Light, keeping Nebraska chill.
Tommy and Scott ran.
Thompson giving ground. Here comes the pressure. He gets away from Holmes, finds his way to the outside. McLaughlin turns him around. He sets and throws, and this ball is caught. Garcia Castaneda out of a total scramble inside the 20-yard line. Oh, my goodness.
That went for 57 yards. So this is what it's like to watch 60 minutes of Nebraska football. Go into the locker room. How was your feeling and amongst your sphere of people that you were chatting with at halftime when Nebraska's down 17-14?
Pessimistic.
Okay.
Pessimistic.
And a little bit
but not the end of the world.
I had a little bit had Northwestern gets the football to begin the second half. So you're thinking,
definitely,
if Northwestern punches it in against a gas defense, I don't know if Reimer's going to come back or not. The game is over. Okay. They had a little mix of play calling. And then what happens on 3rd down and 10? Robinson jumps outside. Nebraska goes the whole first half without a penalty. That's their first penalty, and that's on the opening drive of the second half. And then Nebraska was able to stop Northwestern. They get the ball back. You get that play, which is the best, broken quarterback scramble play since Taylor against Wisconsin in the Big Ten championship game. Then here's where things are starting to shift for you. Where, my God, for the first time in 5 years, are we starting to catch some breaks? The defensive pass interference penalty.
Yes.
That happened on 3rd and long. The defensive pass interference penalty on Northwestern, which, I think Nebraska caught a break on that play. And then you punch it in from Grant. You're up 21-17. All right. Okay. We've come back. We got our feet on the ground. Then, boom.
First play of the next drive.
Porter rips off the big run. And in the course of that run, the ball comes out. And it's not like the ball you're thinking, okay, in previous years, that ball would just roll out of bounds. And
I know.
Would keep
I
it.
was thinking the same thing, man.
So all of a sudden, Nebraska recovers the ball. And you're like, whoa, what is going on here? And so Northwestern's come out of the locker room. Bam. They've had a punt. They've turned the ball over on their first play the next time. They're down 21-17. And what do? Grant houses it. It's 28-17. And then, as you know, that's the rest. But that's the course of Nebraska football, is the roller coaster moment. Because then it's 28-17. And whether you think they should go, you're going to force them to go 75, or you take your chances because you think you can throw a knockout punch that early in the game or early in the second half, then the game never was the same for Nebraska.
Yeah, a couple things off of that for you. So first of all, I love that they tried to go deep right away, because I when you get the ball near midfield, I think you should always bomb the ball. I think that is great to try to just take that momentum and continue it going downhill. Speaking of momentum, like that's, the wind beneath the wings. Scott Frost has said that a lot over the last couple of years. This program is a program that needs wind beneath the wings. And it's been very frustrating for me, because it's almost like, Gary, he wants there to be this like a plaque that he receives. Like, hey, Nebraska football, congrats. You have momentum now. Here's your momentum plaque. Take this and go on and win games. That's momentum. That is momentum. You had a bad end of the first half. You come out, you force a punt after giving up a first down. You get the ball, 8 plays, 88 yards, maybe the play of the season. You go down. The next play, you get a fumble. They said it on the broadcast. This is a defense that wanted more takeaways this season, and they get one. And you can see the bench. You can see the reaction in that moment as Tanner leaves the field. And then they score. Like, that's momentum. That's what they want. And they had it. And then they didn't have it anymore. And so that's why I always hate that discussion, because momentum it's only what you do with it. What do they say in baseball? It's only as good as your next day starter. That's what they wanted it. They had the momentum. They just didn't do anything with it.
The 2 most valuable players today for Nebraska was Buschini as a punter and Travis Vokalek, because after it's 28-17 and you go with the onside kick, there was then the Vokalek injury happens after that.
Yeah, that was brutal.
And he never came back. And Nebraska never looked comfortable offensively. And it just shows you there's a gap between Vokalek at tight end 1 and what's behind him in terms of plays that they can make, either in the passing game or as a blocker. Because I thought Vokalek had a monster day today.
Yeah.
And he left that game midway through the third quarter. And that was a huge missing piece for the offense.
Yeah, at that moment in time, 5 catches, 63 yards. I believe he had one where he caught it that was behind him, like a really good play, really good catch. And yeah, that was a huge loss.
Here is Brian back to the phones on Big Red Overreaction. Good afternoon, Brian.
Hey, good afternoon, guys. Before I get to the reason I called, that last caller, good gosh. Okay, can everybody my age and older, I'm 44, can everybody my age and older just realize that we don't need to run the option and we don't need a Nebraska guy? The 90s aren't going to happen again. It's over. Now, on to my main point. Do you remember when we played Oregon and Lincoln?
Mm-hmm.
And Mark Helfrich went for 2 after every single touchdown.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody said everybody in the national media said Oregon would have won had they just kicked their extra points.
Mm-hmm.
That is the Oregon school of coaching, and the worst thing that ever happened to Scott Frost was coaching under Chip Kelly, because he's got this gambler, we have to be aggressive, keep on their throat, freaking PlayStation scoring mentality that just doesn't work. We had the momentum. We had that onside kick, I don't care, was 100% on Scott Frost, regardless of who called it, because he's the one that let it happen. And it's all because of that stupid Oregon freaking Nintendo mentality. 100%.
I've seen this. Thanks for the call, Brian. I've seen that a couple of times in the comment section on YouTube, which seems like people are having a great time today just yelling at each other. I don't think that was Oregon. I think it was a 3-point shooter who's made 4 in a row and gets the ball in between 3-point line and half court and, wants to field themselves a little bit. That's what I thought that was. I thought it was a team that said, and he was obviously wrong, but I think he looked at that and said, let's do this. Let's end this game right now. He wanted to end the game. He didn't want it to go down to the wire. He didn't want it to be a 1-score game. He thought everything is working for us right now. Can one more thing work?
Here is Dennis. Hey, good afternoon, Dennis. Welcome to Big Red Overreaction.
Hey, guys. Thanks for having me on. I tell you what, this is the luckiest last 10 minutes of my life that I ever had. So I'm down in Sioux City right now, golfing at the Morningside Softball Golf Tournament.
Okay.
Tried 42 times to get on this show. Got a busy signal every time. Boom, finally get on. First time in my life. Then my partner, Bob, he hits a 45-foot putt for birdie on the last hole. So I'm feeling pretty good right now.
Let's go, Bob!
Yeah. So things have been going well since the end of the game for me. But hey, I just want to say I appreciate you guys and the show you're doing. A lot of negativity, seems like a lot of hate and frustration. People calling in, rightfully so. I would just say this: that these guys are probably feeling down. I'm not there to give them a juice box and a Rice Krispie treat for the ride home to cheer them up. So let's just send them good vibes. And we got a long season ahead, a lot of football ahead. And I appreciate what you guys do. And go Big Red.
Hey, guys. Dennis, what course you playing at? Are you at the dunes? No?
Oh, he's gone. Nice bird. 45-footer, man. That's awesome.
Hello, Jeff. Welcome to Big Red Overreaction.
Hi, Jeff. Long-time listener, first-time caller. I'm out here in California. I can't believe I woke up for that 9:30 game. I mean, that was atrocious. But my main thought process on this entire thing, it seemed like Nebraska fans, I've been out in California for a while, Nebraska fans are 10 years late to the party on this. The program died when we got rid of Bo Pelini. Bo Pelini emphasized the line. We haven't beaten Iowa since. We haven't won a bowl game since. Or we won one bowl game.
One bowl game.
One bowl game. And the counterpoint to Brian's last comment, that Oregon team, I was at that game. That was a 350 game. That Oregon team was a 4-win team that year. Nebraska should have won that game every single time. That was not a good team whatsoever. But the problem that I see is that as fans, we have to realize that the biggest thing for this program, it's not the coach, it's not the AD, the biggest thing for Nebraska football is those NIL deals, because it's got to be one of the top 5 programs for payment for a player.
So wait, why is NIL bad then?
No, it's not bad. I'm saying it's great.
Oh, okay. I misunderstood. My bad.
Yeah, no, because as a Nebraska fan, I see we keep blaming the coach. I don't think Frost is that guy, but we kind of knew this going in. He was an undisciplined coach. Both years at UCF, I think he was top 5 in penalties. He coached under a crummy Chip Kelly leadership. No one's really come out of that coaching tree.
Fair.
And the Scott, it hasn't. I don't know why Nebraska fans have been so surprised by the Scott Frost development, because the program has just been in shambles. I feel like since Riley took over. When Riley took over from a Bo Pelini team that had the edge, Nebraska fans kind of got what they deserved, because Bo Pelini was a guy, he wanted to make sure that team was gritty, and then they're going to win between the trenches. And it seems like it's kind of gone.
I mean, they allowed the most rushing yards ever by a running back in one of those games. Thank you. We shouldn't go back down the Bo road. Thank you.
Penalties today against a team that doesn't commit a lot of penalties.
What, Nebraska have one?
Yeah.
One penalty.
It was the Ty Robinson jumping offside.
1 for 5 yards.
Northwestern went 8 for 65.
Yeah, again, you look at the box score. Now, let's avoid the 500 yards. But you look at the box score in a lot of the other areas, and I think that you're feeling good. Nebraska, their third down efficiency, I believe at one point it was 8 for 10, and I took a picture of my TV screen because with 4:33, Gary, left in the first half, Nebraska had the ball. It was 3rd and 3. They got stuffed on a run, but going into that, they were 7 for 8 on third down with 3.7 yards to go as the average. That is what you want. That is ahead of the chains. 3rd down and 3 or 4 yards. That is ahead of the chains. They finished 9 of 16, so they failed obviously a lot late. But I mean, the running game was horrible. 1 penalty, 5 yards, and then obviously a few turnovers by the end of the game.
Here is Kurt. Hi, Kurt. Welcome to Big Red Overreaction.
Hey guys, how you hanging in there?
Good.
Good, man.
This is not a snarky question. This is a legitimate question. Who had better players on the field today?
Nebraska.
Northwestern or Nebraska?
I think Nebraska.
So my counterpoint to this is I've always had that argument. Our coaches were the reasons that they put us in bad positions. That's why Nebraska lost, a lot of games that they've lost. But I've always had the argument that we, on paper, had better players than the team we were playing. This is the first time that I convinced myself that we don't.
And I'm with you today.
Yeah?
Kurt or Josh. Kurt, are you still there?
Yeah.
Okay. Who do you think was the best player on the field today?
For us?
For the whole game.
Well, I mean, Nebraska, you named him, Vokalek and our punter. I don't even know his name.
Bushini.
For them, I mean, their offensive line completely dominated our defensive line. Now, I don't know if that's scheme or just man on man, but this is the first game that I watched, and I said their players are actually better than ours, and I don't know why. Because it's easy to say, did we lose a game because they had a better coaching staff or our coaching staff? That's a no-brainer for the last 5 years. Today, it was. I really feel like we lost the on-paper game too.
Yeah, I'm not going to.
Who do you think? Thanks for the call, Kurt. Who do you think was the best player? Was it Evan Hull, Cam Porter?
I think if you're gonna select the top 5 players out of this game, I'm going to give you 3 right off the top for Northwestern. I'm going to give you Hull, I'm going to give you Helinski, and I'm going to give you Cameron Mitchell. On Nebraska side, Vokalek, Bushini. There's 5. I will tell you the only guy that I really, because I'm now going back to think about the defense, the only guy that I thought played consistently from beginning to end, like Nick Henrich had maybe one of the worst halves he's had since he's shown up at Nebraska in the first half, I thought Luke Gifford played very well today. I thought Luke Gifford in coverage was really, really good. But if you're giving me the top 5 players to pick on both the entire game, I got more Northwestern players than I have Nebraska.
Yeah, and that's fair. And maybe I'm just stargazing. Maybe I'm just thinking about how guys were ranked. Maybe I'm using my own biases. I thought that Casey Thompson for large spurts played better than Helinski, but I mean Helinski's numbers are better overall. He didn't turn the ball over. Now his line really helped him out, and he certainly didn't look gassed at the end. Like nobody looked, on Northwestern looked gassed at the end.
Well, the game came down also to execution.
Yeah.
I mean, Northwestern, when they needed to execute, they executed.
Yeah.
They didn't have.
They made plays, man.
They had some strange play calls where you went
very
wow,
strange.
Wow. Did you say I'm going to use the word safe?
They took the ball out of Helinski's hands.
Was that a safe play call?
So would you have a 3rd and 10 where you ran, a 3rd and 7, I think, late when you ran? They took the ball out of Helinski's hands.
But there were times where you needed plays and they executed. And then let's be honest, the 5 up front, when they knew Nebraska at the end of the game was gassed and they had a run clock. I mean, they almost essentially ran the last 4 minutes out of the game. Now, Nebraska made a couple of key defensive stops to get the ball back at the end that resulted in an interception that ended the game. You could also throw in as a 5-some that offensive line. But we knew the offensive line for Northwestern was supposed to be their strength. I mean, Fitzgerald said that way back in the spring that he liked the guys he had returning on the offensive line. He had 4 guys back. He had a preseason All-American.
Yeah.
So I don't think –
and that guy got a penalty.
I don't believe that they – like, if you pressed Fitzgerald and said, hey, what surprised you about what you guys were able to do against Nebraska today? I think he would say, I was not surprised we were able to run the football.
Yeah.
Because I like our offensive line. And I got a running back who had, and yeah, I mean, Porter last year didn't play because he got
exactly.
injured.
And that's the thing. In fall camp, they were talking about that. They were talking about both those guys.
And I got a guy that runs hard and breaks tackles. And you know what? I didn't expect Nebraska. If I said, Fitz, what surprised you about Nebraska? You know that he would say, I didn't expect them to make as many missed tackles as they had today.
Yeah.
I mean, those were killers.
I think a lot of the
Absolute
stuff
killers for
that Nebraska screwed up with was I think we would have said it was predictable, just kind of like boneheaded weird plays, maybe some turnovers. I did not think that that was going to happen against this team. I thought that was a later in the season problem.
Let's get Dave, who is over in Dublin.
Oh,
is that correct, Dave?
Dave.
Hey, baby, I'm in Dublin.
Oh, boy. How are you?
Oh, no, I'm good. It's just horse from the week.
Yeah.
Here we are again.
Yeah.
I just remember calling from desolate Eastern Washington in 2018 after the Northwestern game, and I called you Greg, Gary, so apologize for that. Here we are again, hearing things about culture and discipline. Watching those sidelines, you knew Northwestern was assured they could win. Nebraska had no idea what was going on. Here we are again. I'm baffled. I'm upset. Just want to thank the Husker fans for coming out, but I mean, after a 3-9 season, I don't know where you go from here. Bye-bye, Frost. Leave them in Dublin. That's it.
Okay. People push back a little bit against me saying they shouldn't fire him yet, but I just maybe Gary, it's just I know that Trev won't fire him right now, so maybe that is clouding my judgment too much. But again, I'd say that it's like a weak move because you should have just done it last year then, because then you're punting on the season, and I don't like the idea of punting on the season. Though maybe they already did by bringing him back.
He's dismissed if it has nothing to do with wins and losses this time before the end of the year.
Yeah.
If it's he's lost the locker room, he's got carnage in the locker room, he's got guys pointing fingers at each other, he's got guys on the staff pointing fingers at each other, and people either can't play or work together, then you're pressed.
Mm-hmm.
But outside of that, I just don't see it. I don't think that's who Trev is. And you know what? Before the season even began, you could make the case that Trev already had made up his mind and is going to let the season play out. Again, he can just sit back and watch.
Bingo.
The results reveal themselves.
Yep.
And they've got a result from today, and you'll go, what's different from what I have seen in the past? In my just brief time last year here as the AD, what's different from last year to what I saw today? Did I notice anything different?
See, that's the thing. It's
So
same
this
old
is a
story.
question for everybody else. Did you notice something different today that was better than it was last year?
Punting.
Fair.
Punting was way, way, way better.
I mean, he had, 6 punts and 4 of them were inside the 20?
Yeah.
Buschini was really, really good, and he gave you opportunity to flip the field.
Didn't see any field goals. Well, there was the one at halftime, but that was a weird situation, so I'd like to see. Didn't see that, so that's a wash.
But
what else was better?
The PATs, there was no, it was not a circus.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
I mean, I thought Casey Thompson played really well, and then he didn't. But that was the same story with Adrian at times.
All right, 5:03 in the Central Time Zone. We've been on the air for 2?
Yeah, it's basically about 2 hours.
All right. We've had a couple of boxes checked of what people like to talk about.
Option football.
We've not had fullbacks. So if you'd like to chime in about how having a fullback would have changed today, you're more than welcome to. 951-1620, 31-28. We're going to try and slip in some other quotes that have come out of Dublin. If you missed some of Frost's comments, we'll go back and recap those. Austin, Cade, Hobbs, John in Wahoo.
Oh, Hobbs.
Yeah.
I like Hobbs. He has good takes.
Welcome back to the season, Hobbs.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I almost said Sharp and Betting in the Morning. Sharp and the Betting in the Morning.
It's coming on Monday.
Unsportsmanlike Conduct with Josh here as well. With all of you, Big Red Overreaction on 1620 The Zone.
Brought to you by Equitable Bank. We take banking personally. Also, Big Red Overreaction today. Brought to you by Coors Light, keeping Nebraska chill. And finally, brought to you by Burton. When your plumbing's hurting, just call Burton.
Hello, I'm Doug Nodgard with Equitable Bank. If you've been dissatisfied with your current banking situation, maybe it's time to move to a bank that works to deserve your business. We have an engaged staff that offers exceptional personalized service. We also have a great digital banking platform. We have 2 locations at 108th and Dodge or 202nd and Pacific. So if you're looking for a superior banking relationship, give us a call at 402-827-8100. We'll answer on the first ring. Equitable Bank, we take banking personally. Member FDIC.
Sunday morning is all about church, eggs, and the Sunday paper. But right next to church, it's made for hot takes and reactions. Severe Reactions. Michael Severe is back on 1620 The Zone with Severe Reaction. Sundays 8 to 10 and doesn't hold back on what went right and what went wrong on Saturday. He'll also take calls from the most important voice of all, yours. Severe Reaction. Sundays from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. Powered by Equitable Bank. We take banking personally. Only on 1620 The Zone.
It's Big Red Overreaction. Brought to you by Equitable Bank. We take banking personally. Big Red Overreaction continues in 1 minute on 1620 The Zone and 1019 The K.
Hi, I'm Mark Evans, owner of Burton AC Heating, Plumbing, and More. The dog days of summer are here. We want to help keep your home safe and comfortable for you, your family, and your pets. That's why this month we're offering a special AC system check. Your $55 system check donates 10 pounds of pet food to the Nebraska Humane Society, so you can help feed a dog while you keep from being a hot dog this summer. Give us a call or request service at justcallburton.com.
That to-do list you have needs one more thing. Chill. It's an easy thing to do. Just crack open an ice-cold Coors Light and chill. Take the afternoon off and binge watch anything. Go to happy hour and stay for a couple hours. Who's counting anyways? Or hang out with just your dog because you've had enough human interaction this week. Whatever you do, do it with a Coors Light. Mountain cold refreshment made to chill. 2020 Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. Celebrate responsibly.
Big Red Overreaction now on 2 big stations. KOOO, La Vista, Omaha, Council Bluffs. KOZN, Bellevue, Omaha, Council Bluffs. Sound off on 1620 The Zone and 1019 The K. Big Red Overreaction is on the air, featuring the most important voice of all, yours. Brought to you by Burton AC Heating, Plumbing, and More. When your plumbing's hurting, just call Burton. Equitable Bank. We take banking personally. And Coors Light, keeping Nebraska chill.
Much like that front in front of them.
Back to him. Hall sidesteps one and scores! Touchdown Northwestern!
Nice choice, Chance. Bare Naked Ladies makes their 2020 debut on Big Red Overreaction.
Welcome back.
There's Josh Peterson. I'm Gary Sharp. Chance Oliver here as well. Nebraska falls 31-28. The home opener is next week against North Dakota. People, because of the discounted tickets, plan to take their kids to the game.
I saw a tweet earlier. It said 50,000 fans at the game. Think it'll be that low?
No, because it's a home opener.
Yeah.
Now,
I think
there will be some empty seats, but I don't think it'll be 50,000.
Yeah.
That's a factor. I mean, butts and seats, lack of butts and seats is all part of diagnosing the health of Nebraska football. All right. The aforementioned. I always look forward to this. Here is Hobbs.
Hobbs!
Good afternoon, my man.
What's going on, man?
I'm having deja vu. I feel like we've done this before.
Yep. A few times.
I knew we were in trouble when I saw him sliding down that rail. I told my wife, "That's not Scott. He's not getting. He's not doing that." And I'm not trying to be a hard ass, but it's just something about it was like, "Oh hell, we getting ready to lose." And I say that to
to tie it all together, like there's a lot of inexperience that goes on with him for being this is his 7th year as being a head coach. And this is nothing against him personally or against anybody who I bring up in this rant personally. This is I'm basing this strictly on in between the white lines, right?
Yep.
So inexperience, bro, is 3-21 when trailing at half and not being able to make any kind of adjustment at all. Or saying in year 5 that you need to be more creative on offense. What the hell is that? Inexperience is losing every single one possession game and attempting an onside kick like you're some kid playing NCAA 14, raising my hand, instead of protecting your defense that you knew damn well had some deficiencies. This is not like they didn't know that. You can't convince me that they didn't know that, okay, we may be good for the first quarter and a half because we're fresh, but if somebody leans on us, we could have a problem. The one thing we knew about the entire offseason was that the defensive line had the potential to get pushed around because they were light on bodies. That's exactly what happened. Inexperience is rolling Oliver Martin out there for another set of downs after what he did up at Wisconsin.
Thank you.
If you go back and look at that, I swear to God, he short-armed that play up in Wisconsin, was called the interception.
And it caused it caused an Adrian Martinez interception. Yep. I'm absolutely with you there.
Same dang thing. Same damn thing when I saw that.
Across the middle.
Right across the middle. And I had one of my friends mention this to me. Inexperience is having one winning season in 7 years. He's had one winning season, and that was a hell of a winning season, no doubt.
It was incredible, yeah.
But he's had one winning season. And Pat Fitzgerald, he's such a G. Dude went into a shell with a 3-point lead and said, I'm going to give you a chance. I'm going to run this ball 14 straight times, show off my superior punter, and force you to drive 97 yards, knowing damn well he had a play action. So he had whatever he wanted, he probably could have got it in that game. That boy, he punted that ball down inside the 1-yard line and said, you know what? You don't have to go 97 yards to score a touchdown. Go 67 and kick a field goal. And because we cannot make a play when it counts. I'm not going to blame Casey, because if that ball hits your hands, you got to catch it. Casey was on the money for most of the game. He had a couple bad throws, but for the majority of the game, he put the ball right where it needed to be, something that Adrian wouldn't have done because that's not his skill set. He wouldn't have done that. He put the ball right where it needed to be. We got to make the catch. I don't care if you're the second or third string tight end. If you're playing for Nebraska, right, you should be able, and you're playing a skill position like tight end or receiver, catching the ball should have got you a scholarship to begin with. Now, whether or not you know the playbook or you know the nuances of the offense, that's secondary. You should be able to catch.
Yep.
So the tight end depth is really an issue. I'm curious to see what happens when 24 gets back in there, if he's going to help shore some of that up. But the front four is exactly what we thought it was. Nick Heinrich, God bless him, can't tackle in open space. But again, if you would have put a gun to my head and said, okay, is the defense going to give up, 450, 500 yards to Northwestern? I probably would have said, well, I can see that because of the turnover. This is not last year when we had the 10th year starters who had been in Lincoln forever, who knew the defense back. And it's not last year. Of course, you're going to have some issues with the defense in game one. That's why you would protect your defense and not do a damn onside kick up by 11 points. I lost my mind there because I knew it was over at that point. I just knew it.
Yeah.
October 1st can't get here fast enough, man. Make Schneider the interim head coach. Let's get somebody in here who can actually make some decisions to listen. If you lose this many one possession games, it's not talent, it's not referees, it's not the crowd, it's not anything else. It's you. And you need to look yourself in the mirror and accept that maybe I am not good at this job and I'm a good coordinator and that's it. Look yourself in the mirror, bro.
Hobbs, thanks for the phone call.
Thanks, Hobbs. He said something early, and I just wanted to make sure I had all the numbers right. One season above 500, and now look, this one just started, season 7 as a head coach. He is now 15-30 at Nebraska, so he has officially doubled up the losses versus the wins. But this is Gary the crazier stat. He is 34-37 as a head coach. He had a 13-0 season, and he is now 3 games under 500. it's like impossible. That has to be the biggest anomaly in all of college football history. I cannot imagine that such a coach exists, or one even near the 11-1, 10-2, 9-3. I can't imagine that such a thing exists like that.
Our great experts that do all the digging, they're not going to find anybody like that.
No, definitely not.
I mean,
Definitely
there's
not.
probably no one in the history of college football. Off of that fantastic call by Hobbs, what surprised you today? Like, what were you like? Everything we've spent 9 months essentially talking about this football team, and the last month, now that they were getting ready for the season, talking about this team and our fears, your fears, your hopes, your knows, your unknowns. What surprised you about this team today that you did not expect? Number one at that list is tackling.
I think it'd be that. I also didn't.
Or you can even do individuals if you'd like as well.
I didn't think that there would be as many wide open Northwestern receivers. Wide open. I mean, that's why Helinski, he started, I believe, 8 for 8, 7 for 7, 8 for 8, somewhere in there. Guys were wide open. They were is playing toss. And I think they probably said on the broadcast multiple times, it's like 7-on-7 out there. And it was like 7-on-7. That I thought the defense, I said it earlier, I thought the defense was going to regress this year. I was really worried, given at the end of last year, we all said it, super duper seniors. They really lived off as super duper seniors. It's a younger team. I thought they were going to take a step back. I didn't see them being that bad, though. I didn't see this defense being this bad against this team. Because if they're this bad against Northwestern, they're Oklahoma, and they have questions. Granted, new coach, first road game for that coach, but Oklahoma is more talented than Northwestern. They have a better quarterback than Northwestern. I think they have a really good play caller. That concerns me. And then, I mean, stylistically, just the rest of the league. Purdue, let's see what happens there. And then, November. So that I would say that the defense surprised me. The defense surprised me in a negative way. What about you?
And well, the tackling, as porous as it was, wasn't surprised they couldn't stop the run. I was really surprised they weren't able to run the ball consistently, and especially in short yardage, get absolutely no push whatsoever. But this is a good question to think about of what really surprised you today. Because I think when we go back, there's going to be some things today that happened that benefited Northwestern that you're like, yeah, that was a fear. Could have seen that coming. Yeah. Now, another part of the when Fitzgerald goes up against Frost, is there is the maturity factor of in-game.
Definitely.
Of you have a definite feel for the game, how it's going to flow, and you play it out over a 60-minute contest instead of trying to play it as 5 minutes and then hold on, 5 minutes, hold on. And Fitzgerald has done this, and maybe it's because of the way his program is built in certain areas where they're going to go into games against teams and they might have a talent deficiency at certain position groups, is you've got to play the game out over the course of 60 minutes. So you're playing the chess match instead of trying to, play checkers where you jump somebody and you win right away. And that's what I've always appreciated about Fitzgerald. And I think he's got a grasp of his team and his identity, and he's established, and he's a better football coach than Scott Frost.
Definitely.
But there is the maturity of in-game stuff. And then there's the maturity of afterwards, how you handle wins and losses. And I, for the life of me, we've been doing this for 2 hours, and I can't get out of my head, because Hobbs just brought it back up, is his comment in the post game. I'm not going on the, hey, do you think you should step down question from the Irish reporter, or he said, in this business you got to win games to keep your job, or however you diagnose the onside kick. The fact that we are a game into this experiment where for the first time today in a decade he did not call plays, is that he said out loud, as an offensive staff, you have to be a little creative in this league.
Yeah.
And I'm already thinking, man, what if there's guys in the locker room that are players that are pointing fingers? And that sounds like a shot to me.
Yeah.
And we're one game into this.
Well, and off of that, before we take another call, Shafe pointed it out. He went and looked it up. Nebraska scoring 28 points in Big Ten games, which is what they did today. In 2019, they did it 6 out of 9 times. Nice. 2019, 3 of 9. 2020, 3 of 8. 2021, 3 of 9. So, I mean, Mark Whipple's already done something that they only did 3 times last year, the year before, and the year before that. Yeah, that look, I think we've all kind of had our antennas up, right, with the Whipple-Frost relationship. That was a tough quote.
And I don't know if you're talking creative, you got to be creative. If what went into the Logan Smothers introduction in the fourth quarter.
Mm-hmm.
Because Nebraska not having offensive line push was also hampered by it's not like this was new. They've known this, is that Casey Thompson's not a runner, and they're not going to run him.
Yeah.
So when you're not getting a push up front by your offensive line where you can just make yardage with running backs, and because you don't have that option that you've had in the past, is that what he's talking about?
Yeah.
I mean, who said let's get Smothers into the game?
Yeah, and we haven't even mentioned that until now. Oh, by the way, a couple quick tweets. You said our listeners, as great as they are at finding stats, they won't be able to find something. Husker Fast and Adam did. Gene Chizik, 14-0 national title, 38-38 in his career. 6 seasons, 6 full seasons. 3-9 at Iowa State, 2-10, then 8-5 at Auburn, 14-0, 8-5, and 3-9. Good job, listeners. Good job, listeners. Man.
Thank you.
Absolutely incredible.
All right, let's go to Wahoo. I like Wahoo.
Nice.
Here is John. Thanks for holding, John. Welcome to the show.
Hey, you got me?
We got you,
Hey,
John.
what's going on?
Hey, guys, 6'8" to 6 beer.
Hey, thank you.
Oh, awesome. Thank you.
Hey, you guys have got to have the worst job in America right now.
We're fine.
Yeah, we
We're
got
fine.
Chance in here. We got Conrad in here.
Tell Chance to cheer up a little bit. I can see him on TV sleeping.
Yeah, Chance is having a rough day.
I walked in here with a migraine.
Listen.
He's got a migraine. He's battling. He's fighting through it.
Yeah. Keep kicking butt, Chance.
Hey, so John, before I let you continue with your call here, because Josh and I have talked about this off air, is if this happens year 2, 3, and even last year, people are really, really angry. We don't sense a ton of anger so far, and now, well, we're going to be about 3 hours on this show. Are you the same way? Are you resolved? It is what it is, or are you still angry?
I don't, it's not is what it is. Am I angry? Yeah, obviously. There isn't a Husker fan out there that wants to lose. We look in spurts, we look good. Quarterback looked good. Defensively, probably the first time in 2 years would you say that we just got outplayed. They got what they wanted when they wanted it.
Yeah, I would say. I mean, Wisconsin kind of beat them up last year, but yeah, I would say it's maybe since
it's one of those
2020.
It's one of those rare days, John. In the last couple of years, Eric Chinander, because he's the head of the defense, they had a bad day. He had a bad day.
Looking at the TV, I kept saying, "Come on, Chin, like you got it." Like they just never got it. And Frost on the hot seat. Let people say what they want to say. We got to stop just giving up.
What do you mean? And
let's just ride it out. 4-8, 5-7, 8 and whatever. Let's just let the cards play the way they do. And if we don't get where we want to get, then at the end of the year we move on. But we can't just be like, hey, fire the guy.
All right, John.
What's that going to get us?
John, thanks for the.
It's going to give people the blood that they want. That's what it's going to get them. And I don't know. I don't know if they think is it going to turn the season around? Maybe. Here's what I'll say though, Gary. You want to talk about an awkward situation? I hate when. I don't even know if we want to go down the road, but I just don't like when you let emotion of you made a coaching change and then the coordinator or assistant does a really good job. And then everyone's like, well, it has to be that guy, especially if it'd be essentially a season long trial run. I don't think you want to put your program into a position like that.
I think another question that's going to come out of today, and this has been, you don't say it out loud, but people are wondering, that have been inside to watch practice for a lot of August.
Mm-hmm.
What the heck has gone on with conditioning? This wasn't we're on now to our 80th play in the fourth quarter and Nebraska looks out of gas.
Mm-hmm.
This was about the second quarter that Nebraska really started to look fatigued and it reared its ugly head on defense.
Yes.
Okay, so that's a question that probably needs a little bit further discussion of why.
Yeah.
Wasn't guys cramping or anything like that. It was they were flat out of gas. This is the first game that they played, but it's probably not a surprise to some because this had been an issue that had brought up by people that had watched practices. And these guys don't look like fully in shape. I remember we had a discussion about guys being in shape or not, or a little shot across the bow last week. I think there needs what has gone on in the offseason and in the month of August.
Every time Northwestern back was hitting those guys, I mean, they're falling backwards. Northwestern was picking up yardage every time.
Here is Austin. Austin, welcome to Big Red Overreaction with Josh and Gary.
Hello, how are you guys doing?
Good, Josh or Austin.
Good.
When Trev Alberts was on defense, who was the quarterback?
Gary? It was Tommy. It was Tommy Frazier. Tommy Frazier.
When was Mickey the quarterback?
Gary?
Trev was here, yes.
All right, so when does Scott's buyout get cut in half?
October 1st.
So who is the coach on October 2nd?
Scott Frost.
Do you think that?
Yes, I do.
He wouldn't have said it if he didn't think
I don't think he's getting fired until the end of the season.
All right. And I totally appreciate that answer.
But you want it to be Mickey Joseph. Is that what you're going with, Austin?
Well, he seems intimidating, right? He seems like he expects a lot, and that's what I seem like we need.
An intimidating coach?
Well, not necessarily intimidating, but just high expectations, and then someone that can reach that, right?
Okay.
I guess the point I'm getting at is that Mickey and the AD are buddies.
They have a relationship, yes. And Mickey has been a great addition to Nebraska's staff. I wouldn't want to be sitting next to Mickey flying for how many hours it is from Dublin to Lincoln because his position, or Dublin to Omaha, because his position group wasn't consistent at the level that he expects them to be.
And I totally agree with that. To me, as like a general fan, like I'm nobody, 100% nobody. But Scott,
no, you're not a nobody. You're a fan. You matter.
Me and my friends. All right, please don't hang up. But me and my friends talking about if Scott loses the first game, he is done.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So October 3rd, who's the coach?
So he gave you now October 3rd, Josh. Is your answer different?
Yeah, that'd be weird. That'd be weird if they waited till Monday. If you're going to do it, you would do it on October 1st. But I mean,
and I totally don't know what day of the week October 3rd
October 1st is a Saturday. It's when they play Indiana. It's the 5th game of the season.
You know, after the buyout is cut in half, there's going to be a new coach. Do you agree or disagree?
Disagree.
Okay. Josh, I'm calling you on October 3rd.
Perfect. Yes, I'll be on the. Well, I'll be in. I'll be on the air. I'll talk to you on October 3rd. Sounds great.
I'm getting
no, I appreciate that.
Be there, but I'm getting that.
No, yep. I look forward to it.
Because Josh, didn't you say last year Scott should be done?
Yes, he absolutely should be fired.
And I totally agree with you, Josh.
Yeah, I just don't think he's going. I just don't think he's going to be fired on October 1st. That's all.
But you know what I'm getting at. He ain't making it through the season. There's no way in hell.
So who's going to be your next head coach, Austin?
You know what? Mickey could be the done. Like I said, Mickey has Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
The best receivers in the NFL.
Yep.
And he just expects a lot, and I feel like a good leader expects a lot and gets a lot. Gets a lot of those guys. And I don't mean to like raise my voice or anything, but
you're fine. You can
a good
talk for the
leader
rest of
is
the hour.
someone that expects a lot and gets a lot.
What if he doesn't want to be a head coach?
That sucks for Nebraska. That sucks for Nebraska.
Why do you want to? Let me ask one more question, Austin, before we go. Just one more. Why do you want Why do you want a guy who's never been a head coach to be a head coach before?
Because Scott went 13-0 and he's 15-30, and we thought he was going to dominate.
Yeah, but you could go find like a Power 5 coach. Like, what about Matt Campbell? Wouldn't you rather have Matt Campbell?
Well, maybe. I don't know. We thought Scott was going to be the savior, and obviously he is not. He's not.
Sure.
And we see all that today. He's not. And I don't know. People can get mad. You guys can get mad. I don't know. That's just my opinion. I'm sitting on the front porch outside of a house.
All right, where you live?
I'm in Ralston. I live
Okay.
in Ralston.
All right.
I'm in Ralston. I've watched games since I can remember.
Yeah, well, that's why I said you matter. Austin, I want you to do this. When you get ready to call Josh on October 2nd or October 3rd.
Third. I won't be here on Sunday.
You've got some time here before we get to October 3rd, so you can call Josh. I want you to put some work into this because this is for you only. Is What 3 names are on the piece of paper inside of Trev's desk? All right. So you got some time
All right.
to figure this
yeah,
out.
I can definitely appreciate that question.
All right.
Mickey Joseph is one of them. Talking right now, just
All right.
the situation that Nebraska is in. Mickey Joseph is one of them, so you can mark that.
All right, so I want you to remember this, do some homework, and on October 3rd, call in sportsmanlike conduct at 951-1620.
No, I know the number.
Thank you,
Thank
14.
Hey, Austin, we
Thanks,
appreciate you listening.
Austin. I'm sorry I asked.
You know it's a big red overreaction when all the regs are coming out.
Uh-huh.
It is Johnny the pig. Hello, Johnny.
Johnny!
Hey, gentlemen. How are you guys doing today?
Good, man. How are you?
You know, I'm doing all right. We had good food, good booze. Can't complain.
Good.
You know what? You won today.
How so?
That would be that would be a win for me today.
You know what? I'll take it. You know, we did Italian beef Sammys here today. We unfortunately spent an entire week prepping them, but they were quite good. And then turned right into the Ireland aspect and did the Guinness and Jameson right at 11:30. So it's been a fun day.
Good.
So, guys, where to start? Where do you begin here? You guys have kind of hit every piece that I think is worth talking about.
You can repeat. You got thoughts, Johnny? Doesn't matter.
Well, I would go back to a lot of what Damon was saying earlier in the week and kind of his points to watch. Hidden yards today were huge, whether it was missed tackles or running backs falling forward, a 2-yard run that turned into 4 or 5. By the time you get to the fourth quarter, those yak yards really start to add up. The yards after contact, they really start becoming an issue. And I'll be honest, I had some concerns about interior line play on both the offense and defensive lines, but I did not anticipate the conditioning and the depth to be the concern that it is. At the end of the day, I think, they've got 2 more games to catch up to that before the schedule really toughens up, get into Oklahoma and get into the rest of the Big Ten schedule. But I tell you, man, there are just times watching this team where when the good is good, it looks real good. And when the bad is bad, it looks real bad. And you watch the coaching staff and you watch what they're doing. And I get that Frost comes from a time when Oregon made a name for itself by breaking trends, by going for 2 all the time, by pushing it on 4th down, by doing the QB run game, by being different. But that's old news now. People expect that. And when you come out up 11, just let momentum be. Be happy with what's working. Don't make it harder than it has to. Onside kicks when you don't need them. Aggressive play calling, switching quarterbacks when you don't need to. Just, I don't know. I watched this team for 5 years. The problems that existed 5 years ago still exist today. Parts of it get better. Parts of it gets worse. But at the end of the day, you look at the trends of who's calling the plays, problems that can't get over, special teams gaps, decision making. I mean, I'll give them credit today. They didn't have any penalties that really killed them. But
yep.
I struggle to see progress. I like Frost. I really do. I think he's got a lot of smart people around him. Schematically, I think they do really good things as far as how they want to attack another team, how they want to defend another team. But when it comes to the moment of making the decision, of making the play call, of choosing to capitalize on a moment, they just fall short every time. And it's hard to watch. It really is.
Yeah, they refuse.
Thanks, man.
Johnny,
it is.
Johnny, Nebraska football refuses to be normal.
Yeah, they absolutely do.
It's a very uneven program in terms of complementary stuff and things that build on each other. And, may turn around, and I know that it'll be an FCS opponent on Saturday. There may be some things that were such glaring holes today that all of a sudden look like they've been fixed overnight. And maybe they are, but just consistently week to week. But coming out of the gate you were out-coached and out-muscled today.
Yeah.
That's
by the worst team in the division last year. By the team you beat by 49 last year.
who had guys that for 60 minutes made plays. Now, not Nebraska, I'm using 60 minutes because Casey Thompson played well at times.
Yeah,
he
definitely.
He wasn't a bum for 60 minutes, but consistently for 60 minutes, he was not that guy when they needed him to be that guy. Josh, I'm going to stick with this. I got to know what happened after the scramble.
Yeah,
because he was never the same.
Yeah, and I assume he spoke. I haven't seen any quotes from him, but I do wonder. And he usually speaks on Monday, so hopefully we hear from him on Monday. Because I'm guessing a lot of other people that watch the game, other media members, notice the same thing. So I hope he gets.
Did he run out of gas?
Yeah,
on that one.
I mean, everybody seemed to run out of gas, so maybe it makes sense.
All right, let's roll through some more calls here. Here is Aaron. Aaron, good afternoon.
Hey, how we doing, gentlemen?
Good, Aaron.
Hey, all this doom and gloom. Hey, it's always darkest before the dawn, right? So we got 3 more games against 2 non-conference opponents and Oklahoma. We can right this ship. We can finish 3-1 going back into conference play. We can run them. We can run the schedule, run the gamut. I don't like everybody just being, they're so negative. Look, we lost the game by 3 points. I understand it. We should have won the football game. There were a lot of mistakes. I get it. But Frost is going to figure this out, right the ship, where you are going to be okay. Game number 1. There are mistakes, but I'd like to hear what you have to say. And I like it. I like where we're going. We're okay.
You like where they're going?
Hold on, Josh. Let me ask you, Aaron, a question here. Okay, so let's continue with this mindset, Aaron. Where do you think Nebraska, off of today, like when they go back to work and they go into the film room and they go back to the practice field before they play North Dakota and then they get Georgia Southern and then comes the Oklahoma Sooners, where do you think something that they really struggled today, they will be able to go back into the lab and fix before we get to that bye week after the 4th game?
Well, I see there's a linebacker position right now that we are very, very slow at. And he's a captain, and I don't want to call him out, but you know it, Luke Heinrich. But I'm telling you, we're slow there, and we are slow outside linebackers, and we are going to get into the meat of the schedule where we are going to face fast talent. And we have to be able to react and get downfield and attack these guys.
All right.
Banana route them in, scoop those linebackers, scoop those running backs. I trust our safeties and our corners. I really, really think our safeties and corners are some of the best.
All right. I'm sure Aaron's making great points right now. We just hung up on him. But you can't come on this show and you don't like a player and you got to call him by the right name.
Yes.
Okay, you can't combine the 2 inside linebackers
yes.
into one guy.
Yes.
Okay, so I'm sorry, Aaron. That's my rule. All right, here's now people are gonna get mad at me. All right, Lance.
Last call this segment.
Hello, Lance.
Last call. I got to go to an interview.
I want to say that I thought today was an indictment on Frost in the fact that, to me, it looked different, but it was the same result. So if you were playing the drinking game at home, there were no penalties on our offensive line. So to me, that was a plus.
There you go.
I think special teams, they were much better, especially the punt unit. I think the onside kick is more of a play call and not necessarily bad execution. So, they looked better. But my concern is we heard that they were not for sure if they could go 6 deep on wideouts.
Mm-hmm.
Why they were playing so fast and why, if you don't have enough guys ready, you're gonna have to slow it down and you shouldn't be Wyatt Lewer and Oliver Martin and some of those spots just kind of confused me. So it looked the same, it looked different, but the outcome was the same, which means he has to go. It can't be Matt Campbell. Look at guys like Rule, Fickle, Doran, Aranda, as far as who that next guy may be. But, I think Gary was mentioning the talent level. I just don't see it with us. And that's what concerns me the most, especially if a change is made, because then it's just going to perpetuate that even more.
All right, Bulk Dog, thanks for the call.
Thanks, dude.
We have one more segment.
One more segment.
All right, so we'll take a break. There is a line now open at 951-1620.
You know what I need, Gary?
I was just looking up something here.
I was just going to say, I need
what is today? Is today August 27th?
August 27th. going to say I would love a Coors Light right now. A proud sponsor of Big Red Overreaction, brought to you by Coors Light, keeping Nebraska chill.
There's Josh. I'm Gary. It's Big Red Overreaction on 1620 The Zone.
That to-do list you have needs one more thing. Chill. It's an easy thing to do. Just crack open an ice-cold Coors Light and chill. Take the afternoon off and binge watch anything. Go to happy hour and stay for a couple hours. Who's counting anyways? Or hang out with just your dog because you've had enough human interaction this week. Whatever you do, do it with a Coors Light. Mountain Cold Refreshment made to chill. 2020 Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. Celebrate responsibly.
It's Big Red Overreaction, brought to you by Equitable Bank. We take banking personally. Big Red Overreaction continues in 1 minute on 1620 The Zone and 1019 The K.
Hi, I'm Mark Evans, owner of Burton AC Heating, Plumbing, and More. The dog days of summer are here. We want to help keep your home safe and comfortable for you, your family, and your pets. That's why this month we're offering a special AC system check. Your $55 system check donates 10 pounds of pet food to the Nebraska Humane Society, so you can help feed a dog while you keep from being a hot dog this summer. Give us a call or request service at justcallburton.com.
Hello, I'm Doug Nodgaard with Equitable Bank. If you've been dissatisfied with your current banking situation, maybe it's time to move to a bank that works to deserve your business. We have an engaged staff that offers exceptional personalized service. We also have a great digital banking platform. We have 2 locations at 108th and Dodge or 202nd and Pacific. So if you're looking for a superior banking relationship, give us a call at 402-827-8100. We'll answer on the first ring. Equitable Bank, we take banking personally. Member FDIC.
More info and opinions on Big Red than one station can handle. Now on 2 stations. Big Red Overreaction postgame on 1620 The Zone and 1019 The K. Sound off. 402-951-1620. Big Red Overreaction is sponsored by Burton AC Heating, Plumbing, and More. When your plumbing's hurting, just call Burton. Equitable Bank. We take banking personally. And Coors Light, keeping Nebraska chill.
On a first down and goal for Northwestern. It's Porter dodging and diving and scoring for the Northwestern touchdown.
Northwestern defeats Nebraska 31-28.
Well done, Chance.
Nebraska's last 13 games, 9 one-score losses. 12 of the last 20 games have been one-score losses. 31-28.
I'm going to do it again, Gary. The stat that I'm about to read is going to make you want to enjoy a cold beverage. And this edition of Big Red Overreaction brought to you by Coors Light, keeping Nebraska chill. That would be the cold beverage I would go with. Dave Rebson, per BTN Stats, Nebraska is the first team in the history of major college football to lose 7 straight games, with all 7 losses coming by a single-digit margin. And as Mike Schaefer pointed out earlier on Twitter, Nebraska now, in the last meeting with every Big Ten West team, they have lost them. The last time they played Northwestern, well, that was today. They lost that game. And then obviously, given that they only won 1 game in league last year, that means the last time they played Illinois and Purdue and Minnesota and Wisconsin and Iowa and Minnesota, they lost them. So there you go. Fun stats.
Nebraska football refuses to be normal.
Yep.
Here is Wesley. Hello, Wesley. Good afternoon. Now early evening.
Hey, guys. Thanks so much for what you guys are doing. I wonder if you guys need to go to therapy after our fans' version of therapy. I'm calling you guys all the time. I just want to break it down real quick. I'm a big movie fan. So I want to break down today into some movies.
Okay.
So, number 1, Groundhog Day, for obvious reasons. Number 2, The Bronx Tale, because the message of that movie is the worst thing in the world is wasted talent.
Mm.
And then the third movie would be Forrest Gump, because Scott Frost is not a smart man, and he does know what an onside kick is. Thank you all. Hang up. And
wow, Bob. That
was Wesley.
Wow. Oh, that was Wesley.
Yeah,
oh, sorry.
Wesley.
Bob, I'm looking at you on line 4. I didn't mean to be throwing you under the bus.
Here is Jay. Hi, Jay.
Yeah, how's it going, guys?
Good, Jay. How about yourself?
Not bad, not bad. I just want to say, everybody, I don't know, stop firing coaches.
When it's hard to fundamentally build a football team when you're rebuilding every 4 years. When you guys fired Mike Riley, I divorced Nebraska or separation and became an Ohio State fan. And if you look at what Mike Riley did, he went to the USFL and almost went to the championship game.
Coach of the year.
Building a team from scratch. Like, all I'm saying is there's so much talent in college football these days. There's going to be good players on every team. Like, stop firing coaches. Keep Scott Frost. Like, I didn't agree with him coming to Nebraska, but now that he's here, just go with the flow. Like, when you get a new coach, you got to start all over again. 40 recruits are going to leave. I mean, like, I want to be a Nebraska fan, but this is frustrating.
Gary, I can't keep doing this. No, Jay, are you trolling or are you serious?
I'm serious.
No, you cannot
I'm
be
not
serious,
trolling.
Jay. You cannot be cool with 2 losses for every win. That's not okay.
Well, I'm not really cool with it, but I don't think people realize how hard it is to build a team when you get handed a team that's fundamentally broken.
Yeah, and
Just
he's
like Mike Riley.
No.
He had a team that was going to be good, and when Scott Frost came from Central Florida, Scott Frost got handed a good team. And I'm not saying he's a bad coach, but you're taking a group of 5 coaches and you're putting them into the big league the first time he's ever coached. Mike Riley had years of recruiting experience. He had like 30 kids, 4 or 5-star recruits, all left when Scott Frost came.
Can we do this
And he
thing where
wanted Mike Riley to rebuild this team in only 3 years after 10 years of a fundamentally broken system. You're chasing your tail. Just keep the same coach. Let him recruit. If you're going to get a new coach, you're going to have to start all over again. All these kids are going to leave. Like, I'm sorry if I sound like an idiot, but
it's okay.
That's
You're okay.
all I had to
Hey,
say.
Jay, enjoy Ohio State. Notre
Thank you,
Dame next
Jay.
week. I'm just keeping a note over here. Mike Riley and USFL success.
Hey,
now
you know, it could have been here.
The ring.
Could have been here. Riley said earlier, not Mike Riley, but Riley said, I legit can't tell when people who call in are being positive or being serious or trolling. Yeah, it's reached that part of the show. Couple more calls.
Yes, here is Bob. Hello, Bob.
There's Bob. Hey, Bob. Sorry I threw you under the bus, man.
I'm kind of a defensive guy, and I thought our defense let us down, and I think it starts with our defensive linebacker coach, who never – I mean, he made a lot of plays in Nebraska, but very few in the backfield of the other team. And he did the same thing for Tampa Bay in his, pro career. But, I hear Scott Frost saying we're going to attack. And I look at the linebacker play today, and they run to a spot and stop and then get blocked. And, the other linebacker makes the play on the other side because the hole that Hendrich or Reimers was in was blocked, and it's silly. I mean, if you're going to play hard, and Northwestern stopped us so many times. I would love to see that, but I don't think our coaching staff is going to allow that. And maybe it's just me, but I'll let you go and I'll listen to you on the backside. Thank you.
Thanks, Bob.
Thanks, Bob.
So we've seen this around the country when a coach is under fire and decisions happen during the course of the game. And here in Nebraska, we have a lot of former players that have microphones in front of them or are part of the media.
Including one that you do a show with.
And the really, really good ones, including the guy I do a show with, they're honest from day one.
Mhm.
Okay. They just don't show up when the house is burning down and say, I told you so. I have not seen him comment. And here's a guy that, in the off season, will drop in to hang out in Lincoln. He doesn't usually comment this way on Twitter. He's not a super big Twitter guy.
Yeah.
Amir Abdullah has tweeted. And he is quote tweeting Scott's comment about his onside kick that was his decision, that adding if he had it back, it was a decision he wouldn't have made. Quote, I thought if we got it, we could end the game. Amir just tweeted, man, I'm typically closed mouth on my opinions on coaching, but that's just poor complementary football. You have to play the field position there. Regardless if we even recover that ball, it's a horrible call. No way you can think you're closing out a game in the third quarter.
And that was my theory earlier, right? He wanted the kill shot.
There is Craig. Craig, welcome to the show.
Thank you, guys. You're doing a great job.
Thanks, Craig.
All things considered, right?
Yeah.
But hey, Gary, I've heard you mention a couple times that you think something happened to Casey after that magical throw, or whatever you want to call it. But I thought I saw for a split second as they were regrouping, a teammate like went to slap his hand or something, and I might be wrong, but do you recall ever seeing that? It looked like I don't know, maybe it jammed his thumb or something.
I don't, but I'll go back and look because something had to have happened because
he did start sailing some passes.
Yeah, he just wasn't the same. But you know what, Craig? That's a great observation. I'll go back and look at it when we talk about it on Monday.
I haven't had a chance to go back and look myself. That's why I just kind of wanted to throw it in there. I believe that was the play, but there was at one point where it looked like he kind of was turning around and there was a hand slap and he kind of recoiled.
Okay.
But it was only, like
2
seconds, of course, with the broadcast today. But anyway, that was the only thing I wanted to say.
No, thanks, Greg. It's a great question. And it's funny because as he started struggling, I did at one point, I thought, I wonder if something's going on with his thumb again. But, no idea.
Is this it?
Last call.
This is the last call for Big Red Overreaction. It is the honor to Jared. Hello, Jared. Make it a good one.
Hey, how we doing, guys?
Good, man.
Go Big Red as always.
Mm-hmm.
I hate to try and bag on Frost because I really want to see him succeed.
Mm-hmm.
But after seeing today's game, I really don't see he's the answer. And the reason I say that is even though he handed over the coaching reins, we didn't see anything different today. The plus side was, yes, we didn't see any penalties that killed us or killed any drives. But the overall play of the defense was not there like it was last year.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, we losing JoJo Doman last year and a few others had a huge impact. But this is year number 5, 5th year in a row we've started 0-1. Where does the change come? I don't know about you guys. I listen to the show every year, every game, every week after the game. And this is my intuition, my feelings. If we're less than 500 by midseason, he's gone. What's your guys' thoughts?
All right, Jared, thanks for the call.
Jared. I still think I disagree.
We've gone over this.
Yeah, I still think I disagree.
I don't think it'll be wins and losses that there's a move-in season. I think it would have to be something different.
Yeah.
Saying that out loud as we close out this is they did not start 0-1 in 2019.
Yes, it's 4 out of the last 5 years.
Yes.
They beat South Alabama. Now, it felt like they started 0-1 because of the Colorado game the next week. But
all right, that'll do it for Big Red Overreaction. There is plenty more. We'll all go back and we'll watch this. We'll interact with all of you, and then we'll come back in on Monday and discuss it beginning at 6 a.m. with Sharp Betting in the Morning, Connor Happer's show, and then Josh and John on Unsportsmanlike Conduct. Big Red Overreaction is brought to you by Equitable Bank, where they take banking personally. Coors Light, keeping Nebraska chill. And Burton, when your plumbing's hurting, just call Burton. For Josh, for Chance, I'm Gary. Thank you to everybody that joined us on Big Red Overreaction. We'll do this again next week after North Dakota. Not the 2-26 guy will be doing the show. And by the way, I'm
off too.
I'm not doing the Oklahoma game.
There you go. So you got some wins coming.
Positive boy over here.
Positive boys.
Have a great weekend, everybody.
Bye.